let's get started with this. Thank you for jumping in, everyone. Today we've got a great 3-hour jam-packed virtual event for you. It's brought to you by a Brilliant Tribe. Obviously, we have a whole coaching going on here, and we've got a great deal for you. You'll see the link here and there for joining coaching. This is recorded, but this is only going out initially to everyone that's in coaching. It'll go out to everyone in about 3 weeks once we edit it out. So if you are interested in coaching, you will see the link. Monch or the team will post it up routinely. But first, I wanted to talk to you about where we're at. So NAR, and let's see here. Oh, last thing, I did have a question. Michelle, yeah, nice to see you. You're in my backyard. How many of you, I want to know, agents, real estate agents or brokers, don't matter, or title escrow, how long have you been in the real estate world? Give me a count. A year, 4 years. Holy crap, 30 years. That's a long time, Derek. Yeah, there we go. I want to see all that. I want to see newbies. I want to see oldies. I want to see middleies, whatever that is. Oh, I like this. Really good mix. This way, I know we've got Mark Rader in the back, and we've got Stu listening in. This way you get a good idea, guys, of where everybody's coming in at. Oh, this is great. Everyone, check this out. 40 years. Kathy, I think you might be winning, Kathy. I don't think I see anybody else. Oh, Teresa's got you at 40 also. And there we go. This is good. I like it. And obviously I've been in the business for 20 years. So somebody in there, in between all of you. Valencia 50, Rudy. All right, you guys have me beat by a long shot. I love this. So let's help each other out. So coming into the business in 2004, right out of college, I had a history degree, and I thought, I don't want to teach, but I want to make lots of money. So my mom's like, you should be a real estate agent because they all drive nice cars. And I thought that is a really great idea because I do see them driving nice cars. And so I became a real estate agent. I went into law school, didn't finish law school because I started doing so great in real estate. And I thought, man, this real estate thing is so great. I did open houses, I went door knocking. I asked my mom for referrals, and I had 3 closings all on the same day as my first closing, which was amazing. I was like, I'm rich. This is going to be an amazing, beautiful thing. And then I started doing great and better. I started with Century 21, and they partnered me up with a partner. His name was Frank Pernice. Frank Pernice out of Ventura County. And Frank taught me how to door knock. He taught me how to present. He taught me how to negotiate, what to say. Absolutely amazing partnership. I loved it, and I love Frank. And and then I started doing better and better. It's like, this is great. I love real estate. Everything they're telling me to do is actually working. I'm putting in the work. And obviously, 04, 05, everything was selling. Anybody could buy a home, right? And so I went on to be rookie of the year. And then I went on to, I think my first complete year in real estate, I did like 275,000 GCI. And then second year, I did 500,000, just single agent, with no help, no admin, no TC, nothing. I'm here like organizing things because DocuSign was about to come up. It wasn't there yet. And so I'm all paper. And yeah, I see some C21 people. Remember the gold jacket? I did wear that one time. And so I was doing really great. And then all of a sudden, 2007 hit, and I started noticing that a lot of my deals were canceling, like left and right. I had 13 open at one time. And out of the 13, I had one left. And I go, what just happened? Obviously, we know what happened, right? The Great Recession started, and I couldn't cope with it. Like I spiraled into anxiety, into some type of depression. I had a little girl at the time. She was like a few months old, and I had just bought a place with my wife, and I was going through this whole new feelings. It's like, wait a second, I thought this was it. I thought I thought I had figured it out. This was supposed to be the thing that I was going to do as a career, as a business, and I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. That whole year went through. I went from earning 500,000 as a single agent in GCI to 50, I think it was 55,000. And I spiraled into getting sick because I couldn't deal with the anxiety and the depression. I was sick for 3 months straight, fever. Family didn't know what the hell was going on. And then I slowly started getting back into it when I realized I guess it's up to me. I guess it's up to me. And it was by chance. A friend came to me and said, when I was at the office, said, "Hey, I heard about this thing called Craigslist, and you may want to check this out." He just gave me the PDF. It was like 6 pages. And I'm like, well, there's no hurt in trying this. Went on Craigslist, copied the exact same thing I needed to do. Literally in a week, I had my first 2 buyers where I had 0 from before. I was like, oh, a breath of fresh air. I've got a line. I've got an oxygen line. I think this might work. And as I started applying this more and shifting it, I realized that this was going to be the thing that I had to do and pivot into and adapt into. And as I grew more, I realized, wow, this online leads thing, let's just try everything, not just Craigslist. Let's go to Google. Let's go further into this. And so I slowly started getting back up. But man, let me tell you, those 2 years of suffering financially, I wasn't able to catch up for years because of it. And I don't want you to have to go through the same thing I did. In fact, that was one of the main reasons that I started Lab Coat Agents. I want this industry, I want all of us real estate agents to be able to know what to do next, to be able to see the things that are actually working because they are being worked on by other agents. I want us to be able to apply these things. I want us to still be around 5, 6, 7, 10 years from now because you see what's happening to us. We're being attacked left and right. It's like if it's not a group of attorneys trying to come after us, it's a group of tech companies trying to take a piece, trying to take more than a piece. And so in this transition of what happened, of me hitting some type of bottom, I realized, man, regardless of what happens next, I really need to focus in on the thing that is the most important piece to our business. And that's relationships. Like nobody is going to take those away from you. Think of when you get a referral versus when you have to go and prospect, which I do and I love. When I have to go and prospect, when I have to create a marketing piece to attract, when I have to buy an online lead, the difference in getting a piece of paper signed and saying, you want to work with me, changes dramatically because the referral is ready to go. It's like, oh, of course, Tristan, you were referred to me. I just want to work with you. And the brand and marketing that you've built over time, people come to you and like, Tristan, I just want to work with you. And I think that's where we need to be. We've got to create a relationship, both types of relationships where there are 2 people involved, like me and this other person, and the relationship we're building with the consumer we're trying to attract because of how we show up consistently. They have a relationship with us. We don't know they exist. And so in this, I want to go through a few things. Number one, when we're looking at where we're at with NAR, yes, this is going to continue to happen. We're going to get attacked by other attorneys. You're going to see more class action lawsuits. They're coming on the buyer side. They're coming on different angles. We've been covering this every week with Saul Klein and John Riley. So right now, where we're at, our job is to create the least amount of friction when working with buyers. And what we've seen is, because we do a great job, and this is where I want you to do a great job, we do a great job providing value up front, and we pay attention to where they're at. We can determine which type of agreement we use. And I'm going to go through with you really quick. I want to show you something. I just found this company last week because I sat down with them. And they made it super simple because I'm thinking, how can I reduce the amount of friction it takes for people to work with us, buyers specifically? And I don't own this company. I was just shown it last week on Friday, I believe. It was Archie. I want you guys to take a look at this. The easiest way to get the paperwork signed, and even at the bottom, it showcases how you function. It's just a simple agreement saying, hey, this is how I function as a buyer's agent. You can put a fee, you can put a percentage, you can put whatever you want, and it simplifies it. And these are the two ways that we've been looking at doing this. Because in coaching, by the way, in coaching, we've been going through buyer presentation, checklist, everything you can imagine to get our agents ready. And one of the things we've done really well is this. I'm going to show it to you. Everything that I share up front on my screen, Trish, this one works almost in every state, according to the company that I talked to, which is Archie. They said that document, that one document they have, works everywhere. But I'm going to show you here what we've been working on, where we've been through this already in coaching. So this is going to be new to some of you. But we created a checklist. You see there's 8 pages on the left, right? It's a checklist, and we're going through this with our buyers. So when we're talking to them, we know where they're at. We know if they're serious, we know they're sitting down with us, and what we're going to do next. This presentation checklist right here, which we're going through, and I'm not going to go through all of it with you. See, there's 4 phases to this. I really only want to touch on phase 1, and that's the preparation. Because the one thing that all relationships are built on, which I'm going to go through the 6 things, but number 1 is, how do you want to make them feel? How do you want to make them feel? And for me, when I'm talking to somebody, I don't know about you, but you know what? I'm going to ask you, when you are talking to a client for the first time, a consumer, what's that one thing you want them to feel about you? Give me some answers, and then I'll tell you mine. What do you want them to feel about you so that they can then use you? I like the answers, Valencia. Trust, yes. Julian, confident. Oh, yeah, I love that one. That's a really good one. That I care about them. Yes. Confidence, protected, trust me, trust. Yes, keep it coming. I want that. Because when we look at the stats, we look at the surveys, we see that the number one thing is trust. People want to trust the person they're working with. And to me, trust means so many different things, because trust to the client, depending on their experience with other sales professionals, can mean lots of different things. It could mean competence. Like the last person they used was terrible. It was like the worst experience ever. I just want somebody to have experience. Or maybe trust because they got lied to on costs. And to them, that's important. So when you're sitting down and talking to people on the phone for the first time, in person, presenting to them, the number one thing you're going to have to check is your energy. How's your energy? I don't know about you, but I bring this up often, but when somebody's calling you, you look at the phone and you're like, oh, it's this person. Listen, I don't have time for that. And you hang up. You don't even let it, you could just kind of let it go through voicemail. You and I do not have time for energy vampires. How do you think other people feel when you're calling them? And the core piece of building relationships in the world we're in, because that is absolutely the most important thing you should be doing, building relationships daily, is checking your energy. How are you doing inside? How are you doing today? Do you even take time to outline how you're showing up for yourself so that you can show up better for others? This business often focuses on, well, you got to prospect, you got to call 20 people, you've got to do open houses, you've got to do all this stuff. But you know what they forget? Because all of that doesn't matter when you aren't doing well inside. How can you show up for other people if you can barely show up for yourself? How do you expect to grow in this business? Listen, I've been through the ringer quite a few times in this business. Sometimes it was my fault. A few times it was my fault. Sometimes it was not my fault. But every single time I can tell you what it took. It took responsibility on me to take action and get the hell out of where I am. Wherever you are right now, wherever you want to go, you've got to keep going. You know what these actions are that you need to take care of yourself. You already know. I'm preaching to the choir. And when you're looking to get better in this business, it starts with you. You've got to check your energy inside. Because if you're not showing up for yourself daily, why are you even in this? You're not going to make it through the next phase of whatever happens. That's where you start. You don't start with 20 calls and did you call your past clients today? Did you check your CRM? Did you respond to your emails? That's not where you start. That's the middle. Number one, check your energy. And if it's off, you know where you need to start. Number two, show up as you. You've heard authenticity. You've heard the word sincerity. For me, it means I'm listen, I know there are some of you that are older and younger than me, but for me, I'm too old to play games anymore. Like, I'm just showing up as me. If you like me, amazing. If you don't, great. You're making it easier for me to work with the people that love me and I love. That means you need to show up as you, but you can't show up as you if your energy's off. Because if you're the one showing up with a bad attitude, angry, upset, and all this stuff, and listen, that is not you. That is not the you that shows up. I'm talking about when your energy's on point, who are you at the core? Because that's the person that people are attracted to. So you need to decide, like, who are you? And are you showing up like that often? Because if you're not, you go back to step one. You see, these are sequential. I need you to show up as you. Because when I show up at an event, community event, I talk to people and they're like, damn, Tristan, every time I talk to Tristan, I feel good. Yeah, that's my intent. I'm always thinking, how am I making people feel? When I send out postcards, when I do anything on social, I'm thinking, how am I making people feel with this? You see, this penetrates through every piece of who you are on a personal level and on a business level. And we skip this because we go to all the other stuff we think we're supposed to be doing because we're guided the wrong way. And I'm telling you, it starts with the human aspect of who you are, not everywhere else. So I need you to show up as you. Number three, can you do me a favor and care about people, please? People know when you care about them. There's that saying, let me just get some water. There's that saying that people don't really care about you until they know you care about them. And it's so true. But you know what? Sometimes we're waiting for people to like show up for us. And then we're like, oh, you know what? They showed up. I'm going to show up for them. I'm like, no, that is not how you lead. That is not how you lead. You show up first. You show up first helping. You show up first without how you need to be to connect with people. It's about everyone else around you first. But guess what? You won't show up well there either if your energy's off. You can't show up to any of this if you're off. You'll show up, but it won't be consistent. I've seen it. They'll show up for a week and they'd be like, oh, it's too much for me. I'm burned out. See, it always goes back to the very first one. But I really need you to care about people. Listen, people first. We're all leaders here. We're all leaders in the community. And if not, you're supposed to be. You want to break into a community, you become that person of the community, that leader that they're looking for. You show up everywhere, social, newsletters, postcards, in person, school events, community events. You get to know everybody that knows everybody. You see, the thing that they also miss is that we're actually leaders. The real estate agent is so crucial to communities. And yet they push us off aside because what are they teaching us? They're teaching us to make phone calls. And if that doesn't work, go to the next one. If that didn't work, go to the next one. Just go to the one that's ready to buy, Tristan. Who cares about everybody else? That's not how you function. This is why we're having the problem we're having. We need to build relationships. That needs to be at the core of everything we do consistently over a long period of time. And somebody needs to tell you, this isn't going to turn around in a year. You're in this for a very long time. That was number 3, care about people. Number 4, we think we do, but we really don't. Number 4 is we need to add value. We need to add value consistently. And I can tell you, because we just went through this NAR thing, which we're still in the middle of, most people were reluctant to reach out to their clients while we were reaching out to our clients and saying, hey, client, and we did this live on our prospecting call. By the way, we have a prospecting call live where Mark and I run it every Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. I did this one live. I called one of our past clients to show everyone. And I say, hey, first I texted Farong, his name's Farong. I said, hey, is it okay if we do this live? But I'm not telling you what it is, Farong. He's like, yeah, go ahead. So I said, hey, Farong, it's Tristan. Texted him, past client. I'm like, hey, do you have a minute to talk? He's like, yeah, call me. Great, call him. I go, hey, Farong, listen, I don't usually ask you for real estate advice, but in this case, I am. What do you think about the real estate market? What do you think about everything that's going on? He's like, what do you mean, Tristan? The 6% thing or the market? And I said, both. And so he told me what he thought. And then he did this, and this is the secret to this. Pay attention. He said, Tristan, what do you think? And so it was a setup question, of course. That's what I wanted him to ask me. But a lot of the times we make these calls and we think they're value driven, and we're like, hey, you know the interest rates are? Hey, I'm just touching base. Hey, this crap over here that I copied from somebody else and I put no thought into it. That's not value, everyone. That's spam. You need to be approaching this business completely different than what you've been taught. The real estate landscape has changed. And what are you doing about it to teach other people continuously on everything, on every level? We're professionals. And so what we did, we simply just did. We went to ChatGPT, had something outlined on ChatGPT, made sure it was correct, ran it through our team, and we created this really nice PDF that we hand out at the end of calls or at open houses, the new landscape of real estate transactions in 2024, quickly gives people what it is, and I can give it to them after a phone call or in person at an open house, or if I'm calling a past client. And by the way, I'm using Gamma. If you want to go to gamma.app. If you're in our coaching, you know we use Gamma. We went through it. We showed you, but you can create presentations, websites, everything on Gamma. The point is you're providing value. That's the key. Value at every instance. People will be like, well, of course it's Tristan. Everything is about value. It's like real value because I provide real value. I stress over it. This is our job. Number 5. There's only 2 more to go, and then I switch over to Trenton. Trenton, I'm late by a minute. Number 5, show appreciation, everyone. Man, to me, I do my best every time I meet somebody or have any type of communication with anybody. I thank them in some way, whether it's just a text and I say, "Hey, thanks for taking the time to meet me," or "Thanks for this," or I send them something. I connect with them, and again, I show them that I really appreciated their time because they didn't have to meet with me. And sometimes it's just regular coffee. Sometimes it's just a meetup. It has nothing to do with business. It's how you make people feel at every instance. You see, the core of relationship building is how you make people feel. And part of that is gratitude. Would you rather approach it the other way? No, the answer is no. You approach every encounter with gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for being there. Thank you for listening. Thank you for teaching me something. Thank you for doing that and spending that time with me. It changes your business. Number 6. This is the best one, so I saved it for last. Be consistent, everyone. I see so many of you do so many amazing things, but you only do it for a week. Or you do it for 3 weeks, and then you're like, it didn't work. And that's how you do it. You do it for months, you do it for years. The one thing that I can tell you from building just one business, and that's Lab Code Agents, I've had to show up every day since 2014, October 2nd, 2014. I was like, do I really want to do this? I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, do I really want to do this though? And that's opened the door to so many other amazing relationships. If you're going to mail, how often are you going to mail? If you're going to door knock, how often are you going to door knock? If you're going to call and prospect, if you're going to send out notes to your past clients, how often are you going to do that? How about events, community events? Listen, you can't just show up when you want to. You've got to show up when you don't want to, and it gets hard. And that's where we're at right now. This stuff is not easy. It's not easy to show up sometimes when we have to figure out what to do on the fly. But you know what? You can do it because I know we're scrappy, and I like being scrappy. We figure things out on the go. That's what makes us so amazing because we're problem solvers. We just need to lean on that a little bit more and remember that's who we are at the core. You don't need a business plan. That always throws me off when I talk to entrepreneurs and amazing business owners. When they first started, guess what? They didn't have a business plan. They just got to work and figured it out on the way. And that's what you and I are. That's what we do. We're scrappy. And we're amazing at what we do. We're professionals. This is why I did this today, because you need it and I need a reminder too. So if you are not in group coaching right now, I suggest you do this. And I put the minimum price I could, which is $99, and it's quality coaching. This is not like the crap you find everywhere else. This is like we pour our heart and soul into this because I need our industry to still be around 10 years from now. I need someone to teach you and keep you going and push you because you're going to be teaching the next generation. This isn't going to end. We're not going to let this end. We're going to keep going. And so this is why Trenton's going to show you AI. Mark's going to go over scripting. Stu's going to go over the basics, like the core pieces. April's going to go over branding and attracting. And then I'm going to wrap it up. Trenton, what do you have for us, buddy?
Excellent. Thank you. That was amazing, by the way. I put into the chat a link for how to learn about more group coaching. I will share here in a second, as well as the sign up link. Before I get started, thank you, Tristan. That was awesome. Everybody in the chat, what's the one thing that you learned from Tristan just now in the last 30 minutes? Put it there. Let's see your biggest takeaway as I get this loaded up here. So today I'm gonna I guess I should explain a little bit. I'm one of the coaches here with a brilliant tribe, and I am focusing on CRM management. I focus on social media. I focus on AI and a lot of smart plan CRM building type of things. And so today I want to focus on one specifically. But before I do that, like I said, I put in the link into the chat for let's see, to this one. I put into the link into the chat for our group coaching. This is a little bit more about it. If you guys are interested in signing up, you can click right here. I'm ready to sign up now, and you'll be taken directly to our sign up page there to fill out the information. You want to learn a little bit more, you can figure out some of our coaches here, as well as some of the actual classes that you'll be having access to with group coaching. Hit load more. Each one of these are a little bit of a preview if you want some more information. So definitely take a look at that. But what we're going to start here today is we're going to focus a little bit more on marketing in general and how to use, like I said, AI prompts, a little bit about our social media blueprint. We're going to talk a little bit about Midjourney, but we're going to focus here on building out personas using AI, as well as just understanding who you are working with. And so the first one we're going to kind of start out with here today is we're going to focus on move up sellers. And so what's so important about making sure that we understand our type of demographic that we want to work with is building out personas for each one. And what we do actually in group coaching is we have an entire document here of building out all the different personas that people would be using. And from 55 plus buyers to first time home buyers to young professionals to move up sellers, like we're going to go through right now. This is all included in group coaching. We go through these every month. We provide smart plans to be able to build out directly for each one of these plans as well. One thing that Tristan did mention a lot of was building trust, credibility, and providing value for your clients. And so I want to make sure that we really are focusing on a lot of that today. And so one of the things here is, yes, understanding who a move up seller is. And so we like to break down each one of these personas. And here's a little bit of like how you can do that. And then what it looks like when you do break it down. And so for this specific example, we got Sarah and John Miller. We understand that they're looking to move up into a new home. They also have to sell their home. What are some of their goals? What are they looking to do? What are challenges, like timing the market as far as the sale and the purchase of a new home? How can we be able to provide that guidance that they need throughout that process? And so, like I said, we do this for all of our personas so we can truly understand and then build smart plans from them. And we share all those smart plans with you guys as well. And as we kind of go through this, well, like I said, understanding of what they are, we also want to coordinate who they are with the process that they have to go through during their journey and what those phases look like. And so we have 4 different phases that we break a move up seller into. We have the preparation and planning phase. That's obviously when you're going to be meeting with the agent, figuring out selling your home, pricing that. Then we're going to move on to the active selling and home search through the transaction coordination, and then finally once they close on their home. And so what this looks like, and as I go through each one of these, we have different AI prompts that we're using for a variety of different AI platforms, whether it's Gemini or ChatGPT or even Midjourney that we're using as well. So there's 2 prompts that I'm going to show you guys here, and I'll kind of explain a little bit more what that looks like. And like I said, we provide these all for you guys, and we do a lot of research on these, so we can help you guys out as much as possible. But this first prompt that I want to take a look at real quick is just act as an expert real estate agent, and anything with a bracket you can always change up. But what we're trying to understand is frustrations, desires, and fears that move up sellers are going to be experiencing. And so we asked ChatGPT to put it into a table format here. And this is actually what it comes out to look like when you use an AI platform to break this down. And so while a lot of these things you might understand for a lot of the personas that you're already currently working with, this is a great way to have almost a list that you could then teach people underneath you as well. So as you bring on new agents to your teams, you can then go through a little bit more in depth here. And so this is just kind of a breakdown to understanding, making sure that they can time their sale of their home. What happens if they, the home doesn't meet all their needs, or they do, but then they can't sell the home. So it's just a way of understanding what that looks like. And so the next prompt, and the prompts that I'm going to get to into the phases is just more of to understand who your persona is, so then you can then create different plans and follow up and different actionable items specifically to these type of people. And so the second prompt that I'm going to go through here, and I'll go a little bit more in depth, is, act as a real estate agent. Help me understand a move-up seller by answering these questions. Solution to buy a home and sell their home. But we're going to focus here on, primary and secondary problems. Why are they feeling this way? What questions they might be speaking or thinking of. What can you do to help them feel better about it? And so as we go through that journey, like I said, the kind of the mentioning of the phases, what that initial consultation looks like, preparing the home and the staging, mortgage pre-approval, those type of items as you're aware of. But when we go through the actual prompt of understanding, this is kind of what we're able to come up with. And so obviously the very first one, coordinating the sale of their current home with the purchase of a new one. That's a big one. And so we want to make sure, what can we do to help, overcome some of those things. Maybe they're afraid of the pricing their home so that they can afford the next one as well. They're feeling anxious at this times. What questions they might be having. And then what you can be saying as well is, understanding that this process is typical of that nature, but we're going to be able to do it together because we're going to, price out your home correctly at the right price to start with. Then that way we can move forward on purchasing the new home with confidence, things of that nature. And so as we continue to move through each of these phases, what we do in our group coaching is really break these down to make sure that we're understanding, where they're at, what do they need. We want to make sure that we're providing them value, but also building that trust and credibility for them because of our expert skill sets that you guys as agents are providing to them. And so now that we're moving into the second phase here, they need to list their home, and they're also searching for a new property, going through the offering phase, those type of items. Again, so now we're going to take a look at what is those problems that they're experiencing right now. Finding a home that meets their growing needs, but also fitting with the constraints of their current home sale. That's always going to be a big one. And so how can we make sure that we're focusing on that their homes on the one home that they really have with their needs are met, make sure that they're prepared to act quickly because they're going to need to react in a very fast manner, especially if their home goes under contract or something like that. And so we just want to make sure that things are going right. And so we've actually built out a 6-month smart plan that goes with each of these phases as well. And so that's where a lot of this is going to all come together. We have different guides that you can then give to your buyers and sellers, or in this case, the move up seller. So it would be one that would coordinate both with buying a new home and selling their current home and timing it all together. The second or the third phase, I guess, here is transaction coordination. So this is where the home's already been offered. The offer's been accepted. Now we need to go through that process of getting to closing day. And so this is where all the inspections, approvals, and things come into play here. Again, what are they feeling? How are they experiencing this? This is definitely where they're going to feel very nervous and pressured about, what happens if something falls from the sale of their home and now they can't buy their new home. What can you do? Are you providing them the guidance that they need? Have you been educating them and providing them that value over the last 3 to 6 months? So that way they are totally prepared for this moment. Because if you would have started that out in the first phase of explaining to them that, hey, here's what could happen, here's some, examples of what has happened, but here's how we were able to overcome this, and this is why you shouldn't be afraid of what's to come. And so this is where the next phase would come into play. Making an offer while selling your home can be tricky, but we're going to guide you through it. Like I said, we've already experienced this, so this will be a lot easier for you as well. The next phase here, phase 4, closing and transition. Now we're into the closing of the sale of the home and purchasing their new home. So the finalizing the sale of that, and then obviously moving out, and then what that post follow up looks like. And so as we kind of go through a little bit deeper as to the next phase here, this is where delays could happen. What happens if it comes from 30 days to 45 days? What happens if both closings don't go through? Or what happens if there's a delay, in the money coming in to then being the money wired out? Again, having a lot of this information ahead of time is going to be beneficial. And so one thing that I'm going to kind of transition here into a second is I'm a big believer of having blogs on your website. So if you don't have a blog on your website, I highly suggest doing that, because this is going to help you educate and continue to push people back to your site, continue to have you give additional content and value on a consistent basis as well. And so this is just a little part of what we do as far as what the CRM coaching call might look like, which we do once a month. And we typically will cover a different type of persona. We'll cover specific items that our members are looking to cover if they need a specific smart plan, whether it's a nurture plan. We went through a buyer's presentation before. We had a seller's presentation. Then we build guides around that to be able to hand out as well. And so that's kind of what that looks like as far as what the phases are. Someone quickly just asked for what the phases were again. Um, here really quickly if you need to take a screenshot. Otherwise, like I said, we'll definitely share these with those that are signing up for group coaching, so that way they can take a look at this again. But that's what those were. And so, like I said, so that's just kind of a sneak peek of one of the classes that we would have for CRM specifically. Another class that I coach is social media, and so how we can improve what we're doing there. And one of the big things that we created for social media now was the social media blueprint for realtors or real estate agents going forward there. And so, what's so special about this is we use another program, another thing through AI called MindMeister. If you haven't heard of it, it's a great way to plan out what you're looking to do in a stage format. And so, one of the things that we do here is we break down for, and I'll show you here in a second, but we break down each social media platform, what the demographic is, what they prefer, what type of imagery that should be going out. Should you be doing videos? Should you be focusing on first-time home buyers? What does that look like out there? What are the other events that you can be doing? And so here's kind of an example, and it's going to be a little overwhelming when I show it to you, but that's why we break these down within group coaching. And so if I were to zoom this out, just so you can get an idea here, when I break down Instagram, this is what I mean of how detailed we go, because we want to make sure that everybody's understanding what specifically we're doing for each platform here. So if this is, I think I clicked on Instagram here, this is where we're breaking down. This is 18 to 44-year-olds. They like appealing content, storytelling. Then we might break down obviously high quality imagery. They don't want low quality items that are being put out there. They want something that's going to get their attention, that's going to grab and keep an engagement going throughout if it's a video. If we look at the type of imagery, obviously we're going to focus on property highlights, unique features. Maybe if it's a video, we need to look at different stories, having 15-second content. Obviously, we need to look at now for more vertical formats for stories. So are we filming like this with our phone up, or are we filming, like this with our phone horizontal? It's going to matter with what platform you're trying to put it on. And then we might look at a little bit further into what type of content, are we using the right hashtags? Are we, tagging the right things? And so while, yes, this might be overwhelming at first, we break this down on a very small scale, starting more like this so that it's easier to receive, and kind of like snackable content in the way as what we're going to be putting out for our demographics as well on each platform. And so what you're doing on Facebook, you might not be doing on Instagram, and you're probably not doing it on TikTok. And then even if you move over to LinkedIn, you're definitely doing something a little bit different. And so, like I said, we break down, okay, who is your persona that you're trying to, you know, uh, attract? So let's say 55 plus buyers or even sellers, 55 plus and up, active adults. Where are we going to advertise for them? Are we going to go to Instagram to make sure that they can see, all the new communities? Probably not. They're most likely going to be on Facebook though. So now we're going to make sure that what the content we are creating goes on Facebook, goes to attract them. First time home buyers. Are we going to put that on Facebook? Probably not. That might be more of a move up, buyer or seller. But for a first time home buyer, that might resonate better on Instagram and TikTok. So now we need to think more video format versus imagery. And so that's kind of where this comes into play here. And we definitely don't go one class into all of this. We would take this step by step and focus on each specific one as we go through. So that's just a little bit of a sneak peek part of the social media piece here. Didn't want to take too much time on that because I don't want to overwhelm you guys. I know that I definitely did by just showing you this, but it's just an example of how in depth we're going with in group coaching to make sure that you guys are understanding a lot of these things. All of these things end up being recorded, and all of the documents, smart plans, um, any scripting PDFs that we put together, we provide for all our group coaching members. It's available both live on our calls. We typically have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, different coaches on each day. And like I said, so everything's recorded, but it's also available on a mobile app to where you could then listen to them more podcast style as well. So it's very flexible as far as if you don't have time now, you have time later, but I can't be on my computer, but I can listen to it on my, on my phone when I'm driving. All of those are available for replay for you guys when you guys join group coaching. Another section that I focus on is uh, obviously AI, but one of the things is you need with social media also is images to help support that. And so this is where Midjourney comes into play. And someone asked a question. All of this is included. We have, I think, 20 plus group coaching sessions, all for $99 a month. And I think I froze there, but all for $99 a month, all recordings, all documents, everything is included. You can listen to it, watch it, access it at any time, and all of the past classes as well. And so one of the classes I had focused on previously was Midjourney. And so when we have Midjourney, if you haven't heard of that, it's another AI platform. Tristan mentioned Gamma that we're using. That's a great one for presentation build out. Midjourney is great for building and creating images. And so one of the things here you can do is you probably have seen before, is that an AI image or is that a real image? And so if you don't necessarily know, well, we try to help you out as well. And so if you're trying to advertise specific types of homes, homes for sale in West Hills, and this is where we can then create some different homes here. These are definitely all AI, so they are not real, but they can create that sense of feeling. You can still post these. You can post any of these anywhere you want. You'll have full access to do that, but it's more about invoking a feeling. Maybe you're trying to create a buyer presentation and you need a specific image that'll go in there. This is a great image that you could then put in that presentation. And so I mean, you can go through. I was using this for backgrounds. I use it for other things as well for other companies. But maybe one of the homes that we could be trying to sell is if there's specific homes in your area that look a lot like these ones. A nice suburban street home. You can definitely do that as well. Let's see some other ones here. I do a lot of backgrounds and other stuff, but here's some. Here I put neighborhood in Denver, Colorado with the mountains in the background. Yes, obviously, this isn't the specific neighborhood. You can probably get a little bit more in depth when you use the prompts, but it's a great way to help, explain I'm selling beachfront homes in Malibu. Here's a great example. Here's trying to be a setting of a Southern California. Maybe this is like a Carlsbad area. And so that's what's so nice about Midjourney is you can create all these different images and graphics from a bunch of different things here. Whether it be homes, whether it be agents, you're trying to attract new team members. There's a lot of variety there for that as well. And so Midjourney, I love Midjourney, highly recommend it. You can use other things like Dolly, which is through ChatGPT. I've noticed that Midjourney gives a lot more high quality photos or high quality photos. I can't say videos. High quality photos. Dolly, like I said, on ChatGPT is a little bit more cartoony, less realistic. And then there's also on Gemini through Bing.com where you can get, it's kind of a little bit of a mixture in between. But if you're looking for highly realistic photos that you can then try to advertise your areas in Ventura, California, maybe this beach isn't perfect like this. Maybe the water isn't that exact color, but you could also try to manipulate a little bit further. But at the same time, you're just trying to invoke a feeling, especially of people that are trying to move there and go from there. And so that's one of the things that we definitely teach and try to cover, uh, or that I specifically do within the classes that I coach. The next one here, the last one that I'll kind of come up here with is, like I mentioned a little bit before, the blogs, but making sure that we utilize our website, our blog, and our CRM and combine it all together. I'm all about making sure that we are creating blog articles for our website. In fact, we actually have a process for that that we use to be able to do this. And then we also provide a prompt as well that's going to break down what what the blog article should look like. Let's see if I can. I think I have that one. Oh, not that one. Oh, that actually was it. So then we will take this blog prompt here and we'll put this specifically into ChatGPT and build out blog articles for it. And why I say that combination is so important, because once you have a blog article, now you have a social media post. Now you have an email to send out. Now you have a text that you can then provide value for. If you create a blog article about, let's say, 4th of July is coming up and you put together the 10 top spots to watch the 4th of July fireworks, now you can then send that out to all your clients without saying, are you going to buy a home? You can focus on, hey, I just wanted to check in and let you know, if you're in the area for 4th of July, I put together a list of the top spots, and then send that out. Or you can say, let me know what you think of them afterwards. Now you have a text that can go out 4 days later. Hey, were you able to check out any of those spots that I sent out, type of thing. And so why that's so important is because then on your website, obviously by having a blog, you can get in the habit of posting a blog article every single day if you really wanted to. One of them here is, about retirement and what that looks like in the Conejo Valley. And so we start mentioning, the climate, what the scene looks like, what the healthcare, safe and serene environment. Why Newberry Park is paradise for earth for nature enthusiasts. So this is going to focus more on, potentially some of the top trails that you can go on, the top beaches you can visit. And so that's where this all comes to play. We put them all together so that way they can all, cohesively go here to here to here to here to here. But we go from having one blog article to now having like 5 to 10 different pieces of content that we can reproduce. And if you have a blog article of the top 10 trails, now with that one article, you now have 10 different videos, potentially even more, because you could be like top 5 or my favorite one, or focus a video on each specific of the top 10 trails or beaches or dog parks, ice cream spots in the summer. Think about what the holidays are coming up. With Halloween coming up, next month, get ahead of that. Think about where, the top 5 haunted houses or the top 5 to 10 corn maze or hay rides, things like that for family focused. And so that's where that kind of comes into play. One thing that we do with the blog articles is we never just put it into the prompt and just take it and publish it. What we'll do is we'll take it and then we'll go into a Word document. We'll go through a little bit and edit that. We actually use something called, I'm trying to think what it was called again. If you can remind me, Tristan, shoot, a Hemingway
Mhm.
editor. Hemingway editor is another one we use. Let me share my screen really quick one more time before we jump out of here. Here's kind of an example of a blog article that got put in here. This one looks like top spots for your Pooch's Playdate. I probably wouldn't say Pooch's Playdate. I think that's a little cheesy. But what it does is it breaks it down as what's hard to read. We try to aim for like a grade 8 or grade 9 readability. So it's easy to comprehend, easily broken down. This will help you rewrite stuff. And so what we'll do is we take that article, put it in here, then we'll put it into Grammarly or to there's one other one, I always forget what it's called. Quillbot AI. It's a paraphrasing tool here to then where we can then paste that into this and will help rewrite as well. But at the end of the day, we make sure we go in and put our personal edits in throughout that process. So um, that's kind of just a brief summary of a lot of the things that I will cover just myself. That's just one coach out of the 8 to 10 coaches that we have over the 20 plus sessions that we do. So hopefully that was a little bit helpful. I'll jump into the chat and see if there's any questions that I can answer that Tristan may have missed or anything like that. But I just want to say thank you guys for listening there. And Tristan, back over to you.
Trenton, you brought up a really good dude. This was really good, by the way. Denise has something good. She says, I use KCM for my website blogs, which does not optimize my SEO, but it's valuable for the clients. What are your thoughts on taking their blogs and putting them into ChatGPT and making them my own? Or would you recommend creating a completely new one?
Well, one thing I guess I didn't cover is within one of those blog things is we use something called Tome, Tome, and it actually will break down about 35. Let me see if I can actually show that really quickly. Sorry, Marco, for taking up your time. Um, but this is where you could take that KCM and be able to break it down a little bit further too. I guess never mind. I can't find my board. Oh, here we go. Let's see. So we use another thing called tome to break it down, and so you could take those articles and rewrite them, or like you said, do your own. We actually go through and if we take a look at this, like exploring Malibu. Now we have Beyond the Beach, so outdoor activities as an article. Life in the Fast, overview of entertainment, so top 5 entertainment things. Here's one of the best bars, coffee shops, and restaurants in Malibu. Here's a guide to the best things to do. And so we go through and break down specifically into 35 to 45, different articles that we could potentially do for each of our areas. So now that I have 40 for Malibu, 40 for Ventura, 40 for Conejo Valley, now we almost have one every other day, but then we can still break those down even further. So we definitely show exactly how to do that within group coaching. And if you want to learn how to do that, that's a great place to come and join us so that way we can break it down even further.
Yeah, there's so much more to this, but Trenton teaches that in AI. Trenton, thanks, man. Appreciate that. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
really good. Very, very good. Eric, we use Beehive as one of our newsletter options and MailChimp. Mark,
Yo,
let me spotlight you with me. How are
hey,
you?
I'm doing good. Trenton, thanks, man. That was really good. I've worked with Trenton directly before on like social media stuff and leads and the whole realm of everything, and he's great. So thanks, brother.
Yeah, smart guy. He's our director of technology. So we've got Mark Rader. He's a longtime friend of mine. He's on the team and he's a coach, and we're business partners in other businesses as well. Mark focuses on dialogue, on scripting. He's done an amazing job over the years. And so, Mark, what do you have for us?
Dude, thanks, man. Appreciate that. So today I wanted to go over just like kind of like how I coach things as far as scripting goes. I think that there's a lot to be lost in translation when it comes to scripting. I know it's kind of like a yucky word to some people. They're like, oh man, the scripts, they don't work. There's always a lack of being genuine when it comes to scripts, it's that sort of notion. So that's why I coach scripting completely differently. Yes, I give, you know, things to say and things like that, but I like to view my scripting sessions as more of a roadmap. My goal is to just help you as an agent just break the ice when it comes to scripts. And today we're actually going to go over online leads. So we go over that, open houses, cold calls, warm calls, referrals, you name it, even some mindset stuff. But today, just for this panel, I want to go over online leads specifically. And my goal is not to change an agent or change what they say necessarily. It's more so just to um, help guide. That was actually a pivotal point for me with Tristan. What Tristan was and still is my coach, and that was like one of the biggest things that I noticed was that Tristan didn't try and change who I was, but he definitely helped me focus a bit more on dialogue, scripting, but also tone, and that's something that we all as well is tone. This is something that is critical when it comes to scripting. Pauses, inflections, tone, are all things that I think are not looked at when it comes to scripting that are very, very crucial and oftentimes actually affect the conversation more than what is often even said in a lot of cases. So yeah, some people in chat are saying, scripts always feel so robotic and oh yes, right? Vomit. No, we don't do that. We actually have fun. We'll do like scenario scripts where it'll be like, okay, someone just jumped in on your website looking for a 3-bed, 2-bath in Sunnyside Village. And this is where the conversation is, and go. And then we'll do like just a brief segment of a conversation and then stop there and then dissect it and go over it. I'll be the agent. I'll be the prospect. I do it too. I get vulnerable. It's cool. Let's do it. Right. So that's kind of how we do things. But Tristan, were you going to say something? I thought I heard you.
Yeah, I was gonna hold on. Let me add myself to the screen with you so we can kind of talk this through. One of the challenges I find in scripting or dialogue or just talking is that sometimes we're taught to talk too much instead of listen. And part of the dialogue and scripting and learning this is just shutting up and listening after you ask a question. Because really in dialogue and scripting, what Mark does so well is he knows what question to ask first, and then the rest is just listening. He just knows what to say in between as he's listening. A lot of the times we're already trying to think what to say. It's like, no, let me try to win them. No, it's like, no. It goes back to the very beginning of what I said, which is how do you want to make people feel, right? And that's why Mark does so great in scripting. Trina, hi Tristan, I'm interested in group coaching, but I'm in the program now through the end of October. Can you extend the pricing to me to November? Trina, yeah, just reach out to Asusena, which I think she's on. She'll connect with you. So, Mark, when it comes to scripting
Yes.
specifically, when you're trying to connect with somebody at first, what are you doing great that allows you to do that at the beginning and connecting quickly?
Yeah.
That's where we lose most people.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I have for us today is again, it's a roadmap. So I'm going to give you, it's an acronym. You may have heard it before. It's similar to like LP Mama, location, price, motivation, agent, mortgage, appointment. But Tristan and I have one, and it's been kind of combed over the years, called a made plan. Now, here's how I connect with individuals quickly, and it's first and foremost, it's tone right off the bat, with just how we even start the conversation with the first sentence. And then I'm going to go into what the acronym is. And the reason why I give us an acronym is because it helps drive the conversation, and it helps you as the real estate professional gather the information you need to provide value and to also help the consumer, the customer, the client, whatever you want to call them. And also allows it to where you don't crowd the conversation. You just are asking minimal questions and allowing them to speak, which ultimately gives you, more information to help them, and also helps with them feeling, very comfortable and feeling very heard, because they're the ones that are talking and they feel like they're driving the conversation. But in reality, it's actually you who's driving it. So it's a whole dance. So to answer your question, Tristan, first and foremost, I start with tone. So whenever someone, so I call a lead, and one of the first things, I start off with is, I try and do a pattern interrupt and try and break away from sounding like every other person on the phone who's, either selling or possibly prospecting or whatever it may be. And that's as simple as, ring, 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 and then it's, hey, Tristan.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just very simple and seamless. I'm not sure if anyone here gets robocalls like I do. I get a lot of calls, and not even just robocalls, but even just like sales calls. And it's always like, hi, I'm looking for Tristan, or I'm looking for Mark. Am I speaking to Mark? The
Yeah, yeah. I get
household, so
those.
stuff like that, right? And it's just immediately a turn off, right? Yeah. So if we start off with, hey, Tristan, right? It sounds like, oh, whoa, hey, hold on, who is this? They know my first name. They're asking it in a way of, they're not assuming. They're kind of asking. It sounds different, and that's critical because it helps us pierce through the noise. And typically, the consumer will say,
True.
"Yeah, this is Tristan," or "Yeah, this is this," or they'll say, "Who's asking?" And then that's whenever I like to jump in and just to connect with them right away and say, "Hey, Tristan, this is Mark with Y Realty. You visited our site to search for homes, in blank or in Sunshine Village. I was just curious, are you only looking in Sunshine Village, or are you also looking in Happy Valley?" Right. So I start off with the tone. I start off with not assuming it's them, kind of asking in a different way, very subtle. And I don't crowd the conversation at the very beginning. And then I ask them a positive choice, open-ended question, which is, are you only looking in the city that you registered in, or are you also looking in other areas? Right. So that's to answer your question. The long form answer your question is that's how I connect with people so quickly and efficiently for online leads. That's what we're talking about today.
I like it, man.
Um,
All right, so let's go through it.
yeah, perfect. Let me share my screen with you guys if that's okay.
Yeah. Shoot.
Cool. Awesome. So, again, guys, there's a little like precursor here. In a perfect world, we're gonna go through a conversation with a lead, and it's gonna be exactly how it's supposed to go. It'll go with area first, motivation, agent identify, dwelling, appointment notes, right? It's gonna go perfectly. But let's be honest, it's probably it's honestly never gonna you're never gonna go through all the questions, and it's never gonna be perfect. This this script, if you call it, is more so just a way for you to be on track with a conversation. They're icebreakers. And typically what happens is whenever you go to these questions, it's going to shift and change. And the lead's going to bring up this, they're going to bring up that. The conversation's going to flow to different parts of the acronym. It's going to so on and so forth, right? So again, this is just to help guide you. So area. So this is kind of what I was talking about when I mentioned the first approach whenever talking to a lead. And I noticed you're looking at homes in X. Are you only looking in that area? Or are you looking also for homes in Y? Right? It's an open-ended question. You're not asking the question, hey, are you looking for homes in X? Because that gives, an opportunity to say, no, I'm not. Right? You ask in this way to help drive the conversation. Right? And what Tristan and I did for some of the consumer responses is we went really, really heavy on like the worst case scenario. So it's like, no, I'm just browsing. I'm not going to move. Right? That would
That's a big
suck. That would suck to get an answer like that. Yeah. Let me zoom in a little bit on this too. Here we go. Okay.
deal.
Here we go. Yeah, because we like to be difficult, as the consumer sometimes, just to give you guys, the best options for responses and how to handle them. Can you guys see the screen better when I zoom in?
Yep, I got you. I see it.
Cool. Awesome. So they say, no, I'm not looking right now. So we do give a couple of different options here. So there's a couple of different ones. I like the second one more, so I'll just go over that one. And you say, hey, look, most people on our website are actually just browsing, so you're in luck. And then you ha ha ha, you laugh, or you laugh louder, or however you want to laugh. Because this helps them feel like less helps them feel less defensive.
So I
Makes them
always,
feel,
I always say, which I think was going to happen down here, but I always say, listen, I'm always just browsing. In fact, I just searched for property with my wife, and I sent
yep.
her a property on the beach, and it's like a price I'm never going to be able to afford, but I'm just looking. So listen, I don't want to spam you, and that's the whole thing I go into. That's funny.
That's this one right here. So this one's good, and it's funny too because me and my fiance were literally looking yesterday. Like we were just hanging out, and we were like, let's look at some homes in nearby. Um,
But
plan on. It's true. It's really true. But anyways, though, the whole point though behind both of those responses is a pattern interrupt. So you don't want to come off, like you're trying to sell them. You want to make sure that they feel heard. You want to make sure that their defenses are down. So there's these little small things that we do that really make a huge critical difference. And they pay dividends for the conversation. They pay dividends for nurturing the lead, and also piercing through the noise, and gaining their trust, right?
Yeah.
So one thing that Tristan did say was, "Hey, look, I don't want to spam you. Is it okay if I send you properties that are X, Y, and Z, or so on and so forth? Is it okay that I dial in your search and send you some whatever?" Yeah, sure, it's fine. And then what we'd like to go into after that is kind of what they're looking for, and they might give that to you then. And if they don't, that's okay, because we can jump into motivation, which is next. Because it's a great conversation starter, a little bit of an icebreaker again. And how we do that is we ask them, questions like, hey, so what brings you down to the area? Or are you local now? Or how did you end up choosing, this area? Or what brings you to Sunshine Village area? Or what made you fall in love with this area? Or why did you, so on and so forth. And then this is an opportunity for them to kind of share with you a bit more about them, build some rapport, and then people are typically often going to like share with you, why they're looking. It could be like usually it's like a job or school district, or they're retiring, or empty nesters, so on and so forth. Grandkids are a big one, right? I want to live closer to the grandchildren, so on and so forth.
Mhm.
So then you say, okay, great, awesome. Did you already have an agent already showing you homes and sending you properties, handpicked by email? And then the best answer, of course, would be no, not just yet. But what happens if someone says, yeah, we do have an agent, right? So this is kind of something that we go over on
Especially now.
what to say, how to
Yeah.
go about that, right?
Mhm.
Especially, would you say especially now, Tristan?
Yeah, especially now. When
Yeah,
people sign,
especially now. Yeah, do we know if they've signed something yet, and so on and so forth? So let's go into that real quick here. So yeah, we have one. So this is a great script. I open houses. I use this on the phone. I use this pretty much everywhere. So I got it. Look, it speaks really highly of you, that you want to maintain that relationship, and that you're bringing it up now, and I appreciate that. That being said, I found that a lot of home buyers that are looking on their own many times are having a little more difficult of a time finding the right property for them. If there was something off market that I had access to, would you be interested in knowing more about it? And they say, yeah, for sure I would. And you say, okay, got it. Well, another question is, did you know that if you haven't obligated yourself to another agent legally, you can work with more than one agent at a time? And they're like, oh no, I didn't know that. Or yeah, I knew that, or so on and so forth. You don't want to ask in a way of like, what's your agent's name or stuff like that, because typically with these online leads, it's pretty early on in the search. And a lot of them actually don't even have agents, but if they do, it just comes off very defensive, and it's not a great way, not a great segue.
Mhm.
And if they have signed something, then obviously, that's a completely different conversation, a very short conversation. But this way, this helps segue into that, where you've only spent 5 minutes on the phone with someone. You ask them, hey, if you do something legally, what does that mean legally? Or yeah, we signed something. Okay, well then now right? But again, typically it's kind of uncommon when it comes to online leads to already have something signed. It's not impossible, but it is a bit more uncommon. Most of the answer that we get, guys, is no, we don't have them. We just started our search. That's typically most of the times the answer we get.
Well,
Okay, so let's move to identify. Oh, go
there's
ahead,
a really
Tristan.
good question really quick. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me go to Valencia. You bring up an amazing question. This is something that we've been working on over the last few months, knowing that this was going to come up. In our current market, would that be a good way to guide a buyer? What we want to get at the end with any buyer is, the goal is, regardless of what stage they're in, if we have a full conversation with them, we want to meet with them. That's number one, whether it's through Zoom or in person. And so that's the number one goal. Does it always happen? Almost never on the first one, because
Yeah.
most people are just looking and they're just getting started. And we don't want to add more friction to the process because Amazon, Redfin, Zillow is teaching the consumer that they should have what they want as quickly as possible without any friction. And when we add friction, we go against what everyone is being taught. So psychologically, it's tough. So what we do is we try to make it as easy as possible. And Valencia, if they say, hey, no, we're ways off. Listen, we're ways off. We try. We're like, hey, well, look, Mark, listen, I know you're probably not ever going to buy a home in the next 2 years, but just so you know the process, we can meet up at my office or coffee and go through the process for you, so you know exactly what it is to buy a home, what you need. This way, you have it all outlined. So when you are ready, you're ready to go. And sometimes it'll be like, no, that's okay. I'm like, yeah, no problem. Then tell me more about what you're looking for. Then I go back what they really want because I don't want to spam you, Mark. I don't want to send you stuff to the things you don't want to see, even if you never buy anything. I just want you to enjoy being on our website. What is that? And
Yep.
then they just go to what they want. So that's what Mark is bringing up. Valencia, great point. Build trust and confidence. You got it.
Yes, trust and confidence, and also value, because you have to remember, like Tristan said, they're coming here, and by here I mean, your website or your CRM or whatever it is, because they want to see homes. So how do we first fill that need, and then how do we help educate them and guide them on what really the home buying process is like, right? You need to show up first, provide the value, and then of course you need to then go into the whole song and dance of what comes next. So speaking of which, actually, on the home side of things, and also not spamming the lead, that's when we go into identify. So, do you need to sell a home before you make a purchase? No, we already sold our home, or yes, we do, or no, we're actually renting now. We actually don't. We don't need to sell anything, so on and so forth. Say, great. Are we looking for a house or a condo or a house or a townhome? We're looking for a house. We don't like HOAs, whatever. Then we go into price. Hey, I get that a lot. What do you think the price range will be for the house? Or hey, do you kind of have an idea of what price range you're looking for? Hey, we're thinking 900,000. This is a great segue when a lead comes in and they say a price. I like to know why they think that price, where that price came from. So we'll go to the loan side of things. You say, great, awesome. Or what came about that price? Well, I think it's what we can afford because we did like the Zillow calculator or whatever it is. Got it. Awesome. So when you did the Zillow calculator, are you doing a type of loan or are you paying cash? Right. Never assuming that they don't have enough cash to pay for it cash. Never assuming that they're just going to do a loan. Asking in a way where it's like, hey, no assumptions. What are we doing? And then the thing too is that we say, hey, I did this today, actually, guys. I did this one today and it worked. There's this lead who was like, I'm waiting for rates to drop. And I'm like, did you not hear? Rates dropped last week. So they're like, no way, I didn't hear that. I was like, yeah, they dropped. So let me get you connected with the lender. And they're like, oh, okay. Instead of saying, hey, is it okay if I connect you with, the lender? It's like, no. Let's do this. Let me connect you with the lender, which is kind of right here. What we do is great. Look, I'll have one of our local lenders give you a call or a text in the next couple hours and explain the programs that you may qualify for that might be good for you. This way you can get all of your questions out of the way. And also, even if you're not buying right now, at least you'll know the information up front. Even if you never buy, at least you know the information up front, aside from everything. Okay, appointment. So this is kind of what Tristan was talking about. So this is like the main goal, guys, is to get in front of the consumer, and then to help educate them, go through the buying process, go through the process of what it looks like for a buyer broker agreement, so on and so forth, especially nowadays. So I think one thing is important is not jamming down, the appointment down their throat. And it's like, hey, look, I know you're a few years out. I know you're a few months out. I know you're whatever from buying, but, I would love to connect with you, show you some properties and kind of go over with you the process of, the home buying process, with you, this way that you have the information up front and that, is my office good or is a coffee shop better? Oh, coffee shop's good. Great. Awesome. I have Tuesday at 1 or Wednesday at 5:30. Which one's better for you? So what you guys will notice there is that each question that that I'm asking is a positive choice. Coffee shop or office. Tuesday at 1, Wednesday at 5:30. It's not a do you want to meet? Is Tuesday options. You still might get a no, right? And that's okay. You can also offer them a Zoom, like Tristan mentioned. Sometimes clients are a bit more receptive to that, so they don't have to leave and go somewhere and take time out of their day to travel and so on and so forth. If they say no, if they say yes, we like to leave them with circling all the way back around with what their initial request was, which was to see homes. So you say, you know, Austin, great. I'm like Google for real estate, right? So any questions you have, I'm happy to help. Got you plugged in for the website search. Going to send you over some homes, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then lastly, if you guys have a VIP program, like for buyers, like an A buyer list or a VIP program going over any discounts or, you know, whatever it may be, or vendor lists and so on and so forth, this would be the time to, you know, mention it or mention it in the appointment that you might have with them. So guys, this is like a whole class that we just went over in like 25 minutes, but
Yeah, it takes much
this
longer.
is sort of
one thing at the end,
what?
Mark, that you also do really well is in closing, regardless of where the person's at in their home journey. Remember, these are online leads, but you could do this with past clients or everybody. At the end, going back to adding value at every moment that you are connecting with somebody. So at the end of this one, depending on where they're at, Mark and I will be like, we'll just pick who just commented. We'll pick David. We'll be like, David, listen, thanks for taking the time to connect. I'll do two things for you. One, I'll send you the property the properties that you're looking for. I'm going to send you one specifically, and you tell me if I'm way off. This way, at least I know if I'm sending you the right home. You tell me what I'm missing, what maybe you want, and once we've got it down, then I can expand on that. And number two, I'm going to send you, and then I'll show you what I'll send and what we're sending right now. Where we go, here we go. So this is Gamma. We use Gamma a lot. But I'll be like, David, one of the things that you may have heard is the real estate world changed a bit. I'm going to send you a PDF. It shows you how everything works. Just four things to go over. This way, at least if you are ready or you decide to do something later this year or early next year, you know. And then we can go over that as well. I'll send that over to you by text, and then we'll follow up in a few days. That's what we typically do. But we're always adding value. And if they're new to the area, we'll be like, hey, we'll send you an area guide for Malibu or Westlake Village. Or if they're selling, we're like, these are the things. If it's fall, we're like, these are the things you need to watch out for selling your home in the fall. And if you don't have anything, your best friend is ChatGPT. So you could literally build it out as you're talking to them, right? So, and then go ahead.
It looks like AP was asking, how do you bring them to browsing your website versus Zillow, Realtor, and the likes? Great question. So we actually go through a couple of different sources of leads. We go through just various different types of lead sources, purchasing leads and generating our own as well. You know, actually, question real quick, Trenton, does Trenton show sometimes on like classes like how to generate the leads that he's generated for us?
Yeah, we definitely do. We go through that as well.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, Denise, yep, 100%. We make sure that buyer broker agreement signed. In fact, we've gone through it in coaching quite a few times on how to get it signed, the process, the presentation. You saw us do the checklist a little bit. But yeah, we definitely are big advocates of that. Here, really quick, is the calendar. Somebody was asking, Trenton provided it. These are all, we have a lot of coaching sessions. When we tell you we overwhelm you, depending on where you're at in your business, we cover that. And Mark teaches some, I teach some, Stu teaches some, Trenton, April. We have a whole crew. And the reason we kept it at 99 was because we want to keep you accountable for showing up, and we don't want to overcharge you, because the one thing I hate, massively hate, because I'm a real estate agent, is having to pay $1,000 for getting coached from coaches who aren't in the business or doing anything that I would ever want to do. And so I thought, let's just break the mold, everyone. We did it with lab coats. Let's do it in coaching. Let's give everyone the value they need for the current world we're in. And let's just destroy everyone and show them exactly how it should be done for us agents. And so that's why I bring in Mark and
Yep.
Stu and everybody else. Mark, anything else?
Yeah. Is it? I kind of want to. I want to send this to everyone here. That handout. If
We're
okay
handing
there.
it out to everyone that signs up and everyone in group coaching, obviously, right?
Cool. Awesome. Jump in that, and then also, guys. Are we gonna go over are you gonna go over the Thursday call as well? Because like it kind of like correlates to this.
I'm going to bring
Because I
that one
just
up towards the end. But yeah, Thursday calls, we do live prospecting. Mark and I do that one. And you can listen into how we talk to people live. So sometimes we get yelled at. Sometimes we
and
don't.
sometimes we get appointments.
Sometimes we set appointments and convert live. Those are always fun. So
But it's good because the Wednesday calls we do the scripting and we'll do like role play, bring your questions, objections that you may have, and then on Thursdays you can actually put them into practice.
yeah, that's it. I like that, Mark. And then Candace says, thank you guys. You guys rock. It's like Amazon. Oh, and then Christian says it's like Amazon Prime for coaching. That's really good. Christina. Sorry, Christina. That was really good, Christina. I appreciate you. All right, Mark.
Thanks,
Thanks for being
guys.
on.
See ya.
Stu, Mr. Stu. Some of you know Stu Jacobson. He's a power player influencer on YouTube. He's been around for a while, helping us, helping you get your footing in real estate before you're even a real estate agent. So some of you may know him. He's got his shades on, so some of you may not know him, but that's Stu behind those shades. What's up,
Ah,
Stu?
so much stuff. So I just want to say hello, everybody. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Well, I know that you probably hear me because we got the audio rocking. So first and foremost, I wanted to just say this. We're going to have a lot of fun. And if you are here live, obviously, and you're not watching on recording, please feel free to type in the chat because I'm someone that I love the interactions. What I'm going to tell you is this. So first, what I want everyone to do is this. I want everyone to tell me what was one thing that they struggled with when they were starting in the business. So if you've been in the business like 5+ years, right? I want to know what was something that you struggled in the business. Tristan, you're not getting away from this, okay? So I want to know what was something you struggled in. And I want to tell you a little story because here's the thing. If you are at your desk right now and you have your stationery all around you, you might be taking notes, you might be have a notebook or anything. If you have a stack of post-it notes, get your post-it notes. I'm a fan of post-it notes, okay?
You're
Because
crazy. I love it.
Listen. We're gonna have fun today. You know what was funny was I was asked before I came on if I had any kind of presentation, and I said we're going to have a conversation. That's what we do here. We're gonna have a conversation because guess what? These presentations that we do as coaches, I love the ones with structure, but me personally, I'm always about engaging with people, and this is a relationship. I love that one. Motivation as a dual career agent. Matthew, I think I might touch on that a little bit today because I think that motivation in general is something that we need to work on. And actually, my story that I like to tell, and Monica said, you helped me pass my real estate exam. Well, congratulations. And I'm so glad that I helped on that. So someone else said that they watch.
See, you got a lot of fans. I told you.
Listen. We're gonna get into this. So, one story that I love telling, and I've told this story before. I've told it to Tristan, and it was about a new agent, and this was one that stuck with me. It changed my entire coaching philosophy. It blew up my world. This story, okay? So there was a new agent. Now, a lot of you that are in the business know that typically brokerages might have like a new agent boot camp. That's not something new and innovative. Like every company has somewhat of like a 2-week or something like that classroom setting where you're going to be doing a lot more training than you are going to be doing. And that's to motivate and set you up for success. Okay. So that's the theory. And some of you might have sat in on those some of you might have sat in on some of those classes, and you might have done that at the beginning of your career. I know I did. I'm sure Tristan has sat in, a boot camp-esque thing. And there was this new agent came into the office, and there was a trainer and the broker manager. Okay. And the trainer, okay, was explaining the boot camp, that it's going to be Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 for 2 weeks. And we're going to get you set up, ready to go. And you're going to know all this stuff. You're going to be great. You're going to be a rock star. And so the agent got really excited, looked at the broker manager and said, how much are you going to pay me to sit in the boot camp? And the broker manager laughed their butt off. And then the trainer just sat there like dumbfounded. This was just a question that they both weren't prepared for. And the new agent realized that the answer was zero, right? And this was like a benefit that you get to sit in on this and be trained by all these wonderful, amazing real estate professionals. So the agent then said to the broker manager, said, well, on Monday, can I go and sell a home? And the manager said, well, yeah, you could go and sell a home. And he said, okay, would you help me if I found someone who wanted to sell a home and I didn't really know what paperwork to fill out or anything like that? And the broker manager said, sure. And he goes, I'm not going to be in training class on Monday. And so the manager and the trainer said, so why aren't you? He said, I'm living out of my car. I have one suit. And if I don't close a home in the next couple months, he said, I don't know that I'm going to have money to feed myself. He said, so I can't sit in on your class. He's like, I'm probably not going to be the most polished agent. I'm probably not going to be the best at the paperwork, but I know you're going to help me. And I know that when the 2 weeks or however long it is for this boot camp ends, he said, I'm going to have more business in the pipeline than anyone sitting in that class. First 3 months, he closed $30,000 worth of business. Became one of the most successful real estate agents in his state. He had never made over $30,000 a year in his life, went to make $600,000 in a year. Now, you're probably hearing that and saying, how did that change my perspective and how did that change what I do? There's a reason why I told you to get Post-it notes. Because here's something that I do, okay? And I did in my career. Let me say this. Let me kind of reposition myself a little bit. It's something I did. I took notes. I had notebooks. I had everything there. And do you know what happened? I realized I didn't implement a lot of what I did. So here's what I'm going to say to all of you, okay? I want you to take 2 Post-it notes, okay? I want you to take 2 Post-it notes today. And what I want you to do is at the end of this entire thing, I want you to simplify what you've learned. I want you to take 2 Post-it notes, and they could be anything. Maybe, really what Tristan was saying to you at the beginning with how you bring yourself to a session, how you bring yourself to a meeting, how you bring yourself to a presentation. Maybe that really resonated with you. Maybe it was a situation where you're like, you know what? I really am not good with AI. So I was looking in the chat. Some people were like, oh man, I'm up there. I'm over the hill and I can't get into the technology and the AI and all this kind of stuff. Maybe your thing is, let me get more in touch with all of the technology. So I want you to put 2 things. And you know what's great about Post-it notes? I'm going to tell you what's amazing about Post-it notes. Not many people know this, but I'm going to educate you. You could stick them right where you're going to be having your eyeballs. It's the most amazing thing about Post-it notes is that you could literally stick them right where you're going to look. And I promise you that those notes that you had and those long pages and all those things, you may go back to them. You may reference them. Okay? You might do that. But that Post-it note that's right on your computer screen, that's going to be something that's going to change your day. That's going to be something I put it right on my monitor so that I can't ignore it. I can't ignore that message I left for myself. Because here's the thing. When you are a day older, you're supposed to be a day wiser, but you have to be wiser, you have to learn from your past self. So yourself from yesterday leaves you a Post-it note, and you go ahead and you have it up there. That's going to be so important to you. Someone said, take a photo of the notes and put it into ChatGPT and ask it to put your notes into a format that will help you exponentially grow your real estate business. Listen, I love tech. I love that. And that is something that, yeah, if you want to leverage it, that is an amazing thing to do. But this is what I'm going to tell you. What I love about teaching new agents and listening to that story is the impact of just doing something and not getting caught up in the trainings and the different ways you could do it. So here's something that happened to me. You can't tell right now because I'm sitting and you're looking at me from, the shoulders up, and I look like I'm pretty much in shape. I am a food aficionado. I am fluffy. Okay, so I am on a never-ending battle to not be as fluffy as I currently am, and you can laugh at me because that is funny. It's and I will tell you another little secret story time about me. I used to perform stand-up comedy in the city. So if you're probably saying this Stu guy's really good, he's funny, he's engaging, that's why. So going back to me being fluffy, I always am on a fitness journey, and this was another story that just kind of stuck with me. I went on YouTube and I wrote out this whole entire fitness plan. Okay. And what happens is this: I wrote out this whole thing. Like, I went onto YouTube channels. It was workout of the day. I downloaded apps onto my phone. The battery in my phone was getting warm because I was downloading so many workout applications. It was getting, you see, that's kind of funny, right? It was getting a little heated. So that being said, what I'm going to tell you is this: I created this whole entire long workout plan, and I went to my personal trainer, and I thought I was a bee's knees. So I went to him, I said, watch what I figured out for my entire week. Okay. And I showed him everything, and he looked at it and he goes, this is awesome. This is great. This is amazing. He asked me how long it took me to put together. I told him it took me about 45 minutes to an hour. This was what he said to me. He said, you could have walked around your block for 45 minutes. And I sat there and I was like, I overplanned. And I think that a lot of real estate agents, we have the tendency to listen to Coach A, listen to Coach B, listen to Coach C, listen to this, and spend the whole entire day in coaching with notes and all these handouts. And here's the thing: it's great, but you get this education paralysis where what happens is, what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to leave you with is, I want you to pull two things out of today that you're going to basically go right into and do. Because again, listening to those stories, what is something that a lot of agents struggle with? They struggle with just doing it. And I'm going to go back into some of the things that you said. Okay. One thing John wrote in here, this is my problem too. This is my Achilles heel. And Tristan, I know when I say this, you're going to say something because this was something you mentioned. One of the things that John said was consistency was his problem starting out, right? It's consistency. I'm going to tell you a little secret about the business. I'm going to tell you a secret about the business. Okay. If you want to find an expert on mailers, they exist. There is someone that is doing mailers at a high level that you can sit there and go, oh my God, they're killing it, crushing it, bee's knees, absolutely the best, most amazing person at mailers. They're getting umpteen clients, built a whole entire business around it. Yes. If you want to find someone who kills it on referrals, you can find someone who kills it on referrals, who does all that kind of stuff and is absolutely amazing. If you want to find someone who's amazing at cold calling, you can find someone that's amazing at cold calling. The message that I'm saying to you is this: everything works. It all works. The problem is that you write this really long plan, or you plan to basically get yourself to a point where all you do is plan and educate and do and watch this guy on YouTube and watch that guy. So I alluded to the fact that I used to do stand-up comedy. I'm going to tell you how I got into stand-up comedy. It's funny. So I went to a club. Now, I got into comedy when the internet didn't really exist. Google didn't exist when I was performing stand-up comedy. So I called around, okay? I called around and I basically got the names of the managers for a lot of the openers, okay? For a lot of the openers that would go in there. And what I would do is I went from club to club to club. And I said, oh, you know, I'm working with manager John and I'm one of his new guys. Now, what's really funny is I want to just get on stage to get an opening spot or like just be able to perform. I was doing that without ever having performed stand-up comedy. I never did it. So here's the thing. I'm 19 years old and I'm trying to sneak in to perform on stage. And I had never told a joke on stage. And, you know, I think back to that version of myself and I realized that a lot of times in real estate, we don't have that mentality, you know, in regards to our business. And we have to have that. We have to go out there and implement and do. Take the walk around the block. You know, how would your business be different if you were homeless? Think about that. Think about how that agent who was a new agent, that there was 35 new agents going into that training and 34 of them were going to sit in class and work 9 to 5 at training. But the one agent that made the most money out of that training class was the one who had a totally different motivation. You know, how would you treat your business tomorrow if you had to sell a home? That's the difference. And that's what's going to make an impact in your business. And I'm going to ask you one other thing, okay? I'm going to ask you one other thing. So everyone here who has been an agent for more than 10 years, okay? Give me a smiley face in the chat. I'm going to call you out for a second. I'm going to give you something, some homework to do, okay? I should see at least one smiley face. Debbie, thank you. Okay. What's my Instagram? You're gonna make me. I'm so bad at Instagram. It's Real Estate Exam Pro. Okay, so listen.
Go to his YouTube. His YouTube that's the one you want to go to.
Go to my YouTube is Stu Jacobson. It's simple. It's my name. So you ready? And spell it STU. It helps. What I'm gonna tell you is this. If you've been in the business for more than 10 years, I want you to do this next week. Okay. I want you to find a new agent who is not with your brokerage. So I don't want you finding a new agent in your brokerage. That's easy. That's a cop out. I want you to find a new agent. And here's what I want you to do. So you go to the real estate school that's by you. You go to anything. You know what? And if you don't have a lot of new agents by you, find someone on the internet. Find someone in Lab Coat Agents. And here's what I want you to do. This is it. I want you to message them, call them, text them, and say, I remember what it was like to start out in the business. And I'd love to sit down with you and give you some advice, give you some pointers. And I would love to help you. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You are now going to have a friend for life. Okay. You are now going to have a friend for life. And I'm going to give you another little secret to all you people that have been listening to me that have been 10 plus years in the business. This is actually how you build the most amazing, kick-ass referral network. Because imagine if you did that with a little more research and you found out where people were moving from, and now you go and you virtually hug a new agent in that area. Oh my gosh. You're going to be a hero. You're going to be building your business. And you know what else you're going to do? You're going to feel good about yourself. You know, taking that walk around the block instead of planning, you know, that probably would have sent some endorphins up there and made me feel a lot better than this immense amount of planning. Sean said, what a great idea. Listen, and here's what I'm going to tell you. This is where I'll put my shameless plug in, right? Tristan didn't tell me to put a shameless coaching plug in, but I coach every single Tuesday and I have so many ideas. It's why, listen. I have so many ideas that I have to keep the hat on. And that's why the hair doesn't grow up there anymore. It's just, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. There's so many ideas and I have more. So sign up for coaching. You'll get coaching with me as well. I'm there every Tuesday. And what I will tell you is this. what you are going to be doing if you have intention behind it. And I think that the mindset, right? Because Tristan opened up today really with a mindset call to all of you. Basically, check yourself how you're coming in. I'm going to tell you something that happened to me this week, okay? I bruised my rib. Okay, so for anyone who has bruised their rib, listen, put a smiley face in the chat if you've ever bruised your rib, because this is what I'm going to tell you. You and me are brothers and sisters right now. We are family, because I had never bruised my rib before. I didn't know how much I liked breathing and talking until I bruised my rib. I love to talk. So now I was basically borderline. I was very mentally affected this week because I couldn't talk. Okay. And I couldn't really, I had to cancel my coaching calls. I was really, really, really not feeling it. I was on a tutoring session last night, and I was as grumpy as you could be. I was helping this student, and I was as grumpy as I could be. I did not come with the best version of Stu. I will admit it. However, this person just let out a belly laugh like 5 minutes into the call. And I just sat there and I said, I want to laugh with you. I said, but it is so painful right now. I said, but your energy is so contagious. And I told her, I said, I have to tell you, I'm not really in the best of moods because I'm in a lot of pain. I'm in a lot of suffering. But the way that they brought themselves to the session and to our meeting made so much of a difference to me that I had to point it out and say, you got to stay positive like this. Like, don't change. And that's why when I came on here today, I really wanted to think about some of the things that I wanted to really express to you. And I think that I want to know. So at the end, Tristan, what I want you to do is this, because I'm going to get off. I'm going to actually, there's a reason why I'm wearing this hat right now. It's my 2-year-old son's favorite hat in the world. We have matching ones. I'm going to take him out for pizza after this. So I'm going to leave all of you. However, I do want to make sure that Tristan follows up with the homework. And I want to know what those 2 things are that you put on the Post-it note. What are those things that are going to be smack dab in your face? You know, what are those 2 things? And they could be anything. Okay. They could be anything, you know, and I know Tristan's going to say, get a 3rd one out, sign up for coaching, do that too. But I want to do this because
also.
I want to do this before I jump off. I always like leaving some space at the end, and I want to know what things are troubling you, what things are going through your mind right now in your business. I'll take a couple questions, couple concerns, couple burning desires, because I absolutely love the interaction, and I think that a presentation from me wouldn't be complete without me at least answering 1 or 2 questions that you might have. So feel free to type it in there. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you say, hey, you know, I've been struggling with this. So tell me what some of your current struggles are. We talked about what your struggles were when you were talking about the beginning of your career. What are your current struggles right now? Okay. So let's see. So Tristan, let me ask you this question. Okay. And if you are in the chat, getting leads to respond, Trenton, I love that. You know what happens? I'm going to tell you this. I have a problem with the fact that I fill so much space with words that sometimes what happens is it's just getting the lead to shut me up and then get a word in edgewise. So what happens is this, and I'll tell you, getting leads to respond is really about adding value. And I think we've touched on that at some point today. We've talked about, you know, the different value adds. Okay. Curtis said, thank you for some great info, and your delivery is awesome. I definitely bring the energy. That's what listen, what you'll learn about the coaches, and this is what I love about being with a Brilliant Tribe and being with Tristan, is that we all have a different, we are very clearly different. As you're going through the day, you're going to learn that if there is someone who is not your cup of tea, then there is someone who is going to be 1000% your person. Okay. And I'm going to tell you this. There's a lot of people that love my energy. There are people shockingly that don't. I don't know why, but Susan said, related, calling, texting without person answering. But do we leave voicemails? If so, what is the most effective? Tristan, I'm going to let you take that because I rarely ever leave voicemails, but I know that there's mixed schools of thought on that. So I want to know what your thoughts are on that one.
On leaving the voicemail specifically, what we do is if we're going to leave one, it's simply to follow up with a quick text. that says, "Hey, Stu, I just tried calling you. I left you a voicemail." And then I follow up with whatever is in that text. It's only to show that we tried calling them, because most people won't check their text. I mean, sorry, most people won't check their voicemail anymore.
They don't, and that's what I've been finding, and that's why I'm kind of split on it. I sometimes do, but it's a situation where I typically don't. Okay, so I like what Krista just said, and I'm going to address that,
Me
and then I'm
too.
also going to say one other thing. Okay, because I think that this is something that for anyone who is on the call that is wondering about my glasses, because someone said I like the shades, and I'm going to tell you this: I suffer from chronic migraines. And for those of you, side note, if you suffer from chronic migraines, there is a tint for glasses called F as in Frank, L as in Larry, 41. So if you look up FL41 shades or FL41 glasses, it is amazing. It is a game changer. However, what Krista said, that's my little side note. I struggle with dealing with people who want info from me without being loyal in return. I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell a little story, and then I'm going to wrap up, okay? Bottom line is this. I live to provide value. I don't expect anything from anyone. I don't expect anything from anyone, because here's the thing: the second that I expect something from them, then I'm not actually providing value for them. Think about this, right? Because if I do something with an expectation, okay, I bought flowers for my wife the other day, okay? I did that because I know she was having a bad day. She was having a rough day. She's having arguments with her mother, all that kind of stuff. I didn't do this for something in return. That's what made it genuine. You see, the interactions are this, and I think people lose sight of that, is that they sit there and they're like, what's in it for me? And here's the thing. You might not know what's in it for you in the short term, but when you're providing value to someone, it's not a two-way street. It's let me help you. And I'm going to leave you with one other story that I think is really important. And I think I could do it in 2 minutes. So when I first started working for Prep Agent, so for those of you who know me on the exam prep side, I work with Prep Agent, and I've been with Prep Agent for quite some time. That is the largest YouTube channel for exam prep in the country, over 300,000 subscribers. It was 2020, okay? I had changed brokerages on statistically the worst day that you could change brokerages in the last decade, if not more, March 1st, 2020. So I changed brokerages. I left a middle management job with Redfin to go to work on a team with Remax. It was the absolute worst. Now, my wife said to me this. She said, "You're a type 2 diabetic. You are fluffy, and I'm not letting you leave the house and go show homes and do all this stuff. So you have to figure out how you're going to make money sitting at home." So I said, I'm going to double down on my exam prep material and all that stuff. And I sent an email out to every single exam prep YouTube channel and every single place that I possibly could, saying, I want to help you. What could I do to help you grow your business? Okay. And no one responded except Joe at Prep Agent. And this was the phone call. He got on the phone, said to me, "Hey, can you help me do a webinar next week?" And I said, "Sure, absolutely." Because my email to him was, "Can I help you?" And now I got off the phone and my wife said to me, "How much is he paying?" I said, "I don't know." She said, "Well, what are you going to be doing for him exactly?" I said, "Well, I don't know." She said, "So why did you say yes?" And I said, "It was really simple. I offered help and he asked if I could. And the answer was, I can." Now, that being said, I didn't know what was going on the other end. Joe called me, and the reason why it was a short phone call was because he was working off of probably 2 hours sleep. He just had a newborn 5 days earlier. He had never hired anyone ever before in his own entire life, so he didn't know how to do that. He didn't have an employment contract. Okay? And he just responded to my question of, "Can I help you?" Now that relationship has turned into 6 figures every single year for me. But you don't know what people are going through when you offer help. So I think what my answer is to that is, instead of looking to what they could do for you, add value to them to the point that they can't not help you. So that being said, I'm going to shut my mouth for the first time in the last half hour. I'm going to go feed my son. I'm going to go feed myself and my fluffiness. And listen, you have a great rest of your day. And listen, those 2 Post-it notes, Tristan, you got to keep them honest.
I'll do it at the end for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. Everyone, have a great one.
Thanks, Stu. Great hat. We appreciate you. All right, that was very fun. And yeah, I'll keep you honest. At the end, we'll go over what's on your sticky note, those 2 things, probably on a 3rd thing. April is a longtime friend of mine. She works out of Omaha, Nebraska. Is that where you work out of, or did I get it completely wrong? Okay,
No,
good.
Omaha.
Perfect. And she runs an amazing team. The first thing that stood out with April and Jen, they're a team, April and Jen Tucker, was that their branding is on point. Like they tell a story with their branding, and it connects with people and people remember it. And she's so great at it. So I wanted her to teach this to you, because I think the business that we're in is deeply about relationships, but it's also about attracting people we want to work with. And she does it very, very well. So April, you run a team out there, you're successful, you've been in real estate for a while. Welcome. And she's also a coach. So where do you want to start?
Gosh, first, awesome sessions today. Like, love learning from each one of you guys. I'm just so thankful to always have that opportunity to learn from each one of you guys. And hopefully everyone here has been taking lots of notes, because that is some killer information that we have gotten so far. And I hope I can do it justice by stepping in here and, kind of talking over some branding. So I love branding. And a lot of my love for branding has really come out of my love for Canva. And if you guys have seen me kind of combine the 2 worlds, I could talk for hours about those 2 things. And so looking forward to today, right? We know we've gone through some big shifts here in real estate recently, but there's always shifts and changes in real estate. No big deal. We're all old hat at that. Shouldn't be any big thing, right? But the one thing that should always be consistent throughout our whole entire career is that it is our jobs as agents and as professionals to brand ourselves out there to our community, to our fellow agents, to our real estate world, whoever it is. Branding should be one of those things that is always top of mind. And gosh, it has been super fun for me for the last 9 years. You guys, when I jumped into real estate 9 years ago, I had that much clue what real estate was all about. Literally, I had one person come up to me and she was like, April, you'd be great at real estate. Go get your license. I was in auto mode. I had just had a newborn. So I started getting my license when I had, I think, a 3-month-old. I was literally going through my thesis, through college at that moment. And I had a 4-year-old with really big speech disorder, daily stuff. And I don't know what prompted me to go, okay, great, I'll throw one more thing in the mix. But I went and I got my real estate license because someone said I'd be good at it. And I had no clue what it was when I jumped into real estate, you guys. Here's what I did know. I knew that my husband, who worked so hard for our family, was just, we were right there. We take 2 steps forward financially, we take a step back, and we were making it. We were doing okay. But gosh, 1, we could not afford really for me to get my real estate license. That was a big stretch financially for my family. And 2, guys, we cannot afford to go on vacation at all. And we would go see my parents in Michigan. And that was our vacation. That if we were lucky enough to scrape together the money to go, we would go. I was so desperate to help my family make money early on that I was doing dog sitting. I was doing dog sitting for people here in the local community. I would get my $30, $50, whatever it was, and I'd put it in a jar every week. And I'd take that out. I'd be so proud. Once a month, I'd say, Jason, I made an extra $200 this month to help pay a bill, right? I was desperate to help my family out financially. And one of the huge goals on that was, gosh, I wanted to go sit my butt in the freaking sand and have a drink and enjoy a real vacation with my family, not to go to Michigan to go hang out with my family. Don't let them hear, don't tell them I said that. You guys, I knew nothing jumping into this world, but here's what I did know. The beach has colors of turquoise and coral. And man, I did all my branding my first year in turquoise and coral, because everything I pumped out there into the universe, I wanted it to look like the beach. I did so much beach branding. I live in frickin' Nebraska. Like, why am I doing beach branding, right? But you guys, it was a reflection of what my goal was. You guys, I hit my goal. My first year in real estate, I closed 52 transactions, which is crazy here in the Omaha metro, right? And my second year stepping in, we went on a cruise. We went to Florida and spent 3 days in Clearwater. And you guys, we got our butts on a Disney cruise. You think we never could have afforded that? I am so thankful for my turquoise and my coral branding. And that is, oh, I totally agree, Bianca, totally my happy spot. We've taken so many cruises. I work to cruise at this point. However, you guys, that is where my branding started out. And it worked. It was a reflection of my goals. It was a reflection of where I wanted my family to be. And you guys, I love my early on branding. As my business continued to grow and I doubled and tripled very quickly in my business here, very quickly became a team lead because I had so much business and I had such a love for teaching other agents that I eventually started to grow and expand in this branding. And very powerfully, this is the power of coaching, you guys. In my third year, I hired a coach through my brokerage. Her name is Carol. I owe so much to Carol. And then Tristan as my second coach. I owe everything to you, Tristan. I'm just, how wonderful you guys have been. But I realized I was operating in an either or perspective here in real estate. I could either be a real estate agent or I could be a mom. I could either go show a house or I could go to my son's football game or birthday party or anniversary dinner. You guys, I lived in an either or mentality. And she pointed that out to me one day and she said, gosh, April, you need to break your either or mentality and you have to get a both and mentality. And there was something to that both and mentality. I can both be a mom and be a real estate agent. I can be an advocate for my military community. I'm a veteran. I love my military community. And I can be a real estate agent. I can be a chef, you guys. I went to chef school. I love cooking, right? And I can be a real estate agent, right? I have ways to combine what I love with what I love. And what I love is being the hot mess mom that is my brand. And that is so relatable to my military community here, right? I can combine my love of teaching and all of that with my love of real estate. Start to look at your world in a both and perspective. And what you guys are going to see is your superpowers starting to take shape. And once I started to learn what my superpowers are, my brand shifted from something that was very color oriented to meet my goals to something that was absolutely pillar oriented. And so I encourage you guys to start to think about branding and what you're putting yourself out there to portray yourself in the universe as your both and of your superpowers. You guys, branding should be a simple yet powerful presentation of who you are. So you guys, as you're starting to think through, how do you want your brand, how do you want your business to look in 2025? I encourage you guys to ask yourself some of these questions. Break out your pen and paper. When I'm talking, I love to give people action steps to be able to go back and to think things through and to really start to see that vision take shape. So you guys, here are some questions that I want you guys to start. Yes, hot mess mom that can do both. I agree. Tanya Marie Adams, you and me, girl, we are the hot mess moms. I will always be 5 minutes late because I was trying to drag a kid into my car. Half the time when a client or somebody calls me, and matter of fact, I had an agent bring it up to me once, I will answer and I'll say, hello, this is April. Hold on a second. If you don't get in the dang car right now, and you guys, I'm real. I am just real.
April,
and I got to see my
you want to start a
clients, my
Facebook
agents
group
love it. What's
called,
that?
we can start a Facebook group called Hot Mess Moms. Obviously, I won't be part of it, but that would be amazing.
Yes, I should. You know what? You and I, girl, we should do this together, Tanya Marie. You and I, we're the hot mess moms. I once had an agent, he called me, his name is Dwayne, And he answered as I was in like, as I'm like yelling at my kids, and he just started cracking up. He goes, you know, April, every time I call you, I think you're yelling at your children. And I'm like, that's just my life. They refuse to do anything. So I'm very real in my branding. You guys, let's talk about defining your superpowers and then watch how this shifts your both end. It is the coolest thing, you guys. First, who is the audience for your business? And if you guys have any answers, I want you guys to throw them out there in the group chat. Get collaborative, talk to each other. It is so much fun because this is a deep way of learning who our peers are and who we are. So who is the audience for your business? I can tell you who mine is. It is military mamas. Guys, I have built the most beautiful business around military mamas. That is who my audience is, right? What do you enjoy doing in your spare time? What do you enjoy doing, right? Maybe it's cooking, maybe it's gardening, right? I was speaking with a woman down out of Lincoln, Nebraska. I was teaching a class all about branding. And she said, you know what I love doing, April? She said, I love antiquing. I love antiquing. And I said, great. Let's sit down together. Let's come up with a really cool branding scheme around antiquing. What else do you love? And that turned into Huskers. Go Huskers. We didn't win this last one, but you know what? We're still doing great this year. And that turned into Lincoln, and that turned into her grandbabies, right? And a beautiful brand started to take shape. She turned around. I helped her start a Facebook group for her age demographic in Lincoln. She now has thousands of people in there and pulling leads left and right because she thought about what she loves and she turned it into a business plan. Here's a good one, you guys. What are you better at than most people? It's kind of awkward if you think about it. It's almost like you're trying to talk yourself up a little bit. But seriously, you guys, what are you better at than most people? It's important to know what those attributes are. All right, so check it out. I want some answers here. When you go on social media, what do you gravitate to watching the most? What do you love to watch? I can tell you, when I get on TikTok, I am watching cake decorating videos. Man, matter of fact, I think I have TikTok fooled into not even realizing I'm a realtor anymore. I think they think I'm a baker, you know? And so I love my content that's on there. It's so much fun. Yeah, kids and animals, right? Those are naturally going to show you what your strengths and what your loves are. And they're things you enjoy. Capitalize on that. Do you have any family or pets that you can talk about or showcase on your social media? Let me bring up the copper agent Christian Davis, you guys. Christian loves her dog, Meatball. She loves her dog, Meatball. One of her, it's a big one, they call it like not a Burmese python. What's that dog called? A Burmese something, the big, beautiful one. Anyways, you guys, that's one of her pillars is her dog. And we sat down and we created the coolest newsletter, the coolest geofarm, the coolest branding that absolutely lived and breathed her dog Meatball. Now in her neighborhood, they have monthly Meatball get-togethers at the park for all of the dogs. And she puts it out in her monthly newsletter, which has a QR scanner to the neighborhood group that she created on Facebook, which is now flowed into TikTok and into Instagram, which is now turned into community events that she holds with Meatball and the other dogs for her neighborhood, which has naturally turned into leads and closings. You guys see how that works? It's the both end mentality. Why are you hiding what you love in your branding? There's just no purpose to that. What hobbies do you have that you spend a lot of time doing? Let's talk about my good friend, my best friend's sister, Jennifer Tucker. We have the same last name, but we're not technically sisters. You guys, she loves a Burmese mountain dog, not a Burmese python. Thank you. I appreciate that, Kim. Guys, she loves her homestead. She loves her garden. She loves her chickens, and she loves making anything with sourdough, right? These are the things that she spends a lot of time doing, her hobbies. You guys have never seen a more beautiful, cohesive brand around the things that she loves. Her chickens are a staple here now in the Omaha Metro. She's branded what she loves so well that anytime a storm comes through the Omaha Metro, which we get a lot of, she got complete strangers that will reach out to her on Facebook asking if her chickens are okay. You guys, that's not real estate, but you know what that is? That's a both end pillar. She's both chickens and she's real estate. People remember the real estate, but they remember you more. No one's reaching out to any realtors after a storm going, oh, is your real estate business okay after the storm? No one cares, but they are reaching out about the things that you love that you put in front of them. Is there anything special about the city, town, location that you live in that others would be interested in knowing more about? You guys, one of the things that I love is my hometown of Papillion, Nebraska. We're just right out here on the outskirts of Omaha. Guys, and I know, I just lost his name, Blair Ballin, you know, somebody great, one of the Brilliant Tribe coaches speaks on this so eloquently and beautifully. It's probably 6 years ago, I started the Let's Really Talk Papillion page, right? I've now grown that to about 12,000 people, which there's only 20,000 people here in Papillion. So that's really good attrition rate on that. You guys, I have so much fun showcasing small businesses, showcasing events coming up in Papillion and in essence, Omaha, right? That becomes part of it, right? I have so much fun building and growing this cool online community through Facebook. But you know what else I put out there at least once a week? Something about the Papillion market. Papillion market stats. Hey guys, check it out. Interest rates just came down. Hey guys, check it out. New listing. And you know what? I let all the realtors on there. I let them all on there. I don't care. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, it's my page and it's my voice and it's my baby. And you know what? I'm not trying to be exclusive. I've never been an exclusive person. And maybe I'll lose a lead at some point on it because I let somebody else on, but I catch so much more goodness, right? Just by being inclusive. That's a really big one. If you could only talk about one thing for the rest of your life, what would that thing be? Right? I can tell you guys, for me, if it wasn't going to be real estate and if it wasn't going to be my family, it's either going to be adoption or it's going to be military life. I can speak on those two topics. Oh my gosh, I for hours on end. I love to speak on adoption. I love to speak on military life. When it comes to your job, what aspects of it do you feel you are amazing at? Right? What are you amazing at when it comes to your job? And last, I want you to ask yourself, what are your principles and values in your life? And how do you lead? How do you lead others? You guys, these are just good questions to ask yourself in general. It's really kind of cool because if you guys start to flesh out some answers to all of these, what you're going to start to naturally see take shape is a form of a business plan. Stepping points that you guys can use to create a really cool, genuine, very genuine business. That's what this is about, finding the genuinity, finding that very authentic point in your branding. You guys, once you guys have all of these all kind of fleshed out, right? Once you have an idea of what your pillars are, and I always recommend, yes, I can go ahead and send you a summary of these in email. No big deal there, Anastasia. Once you have this all fleshed out, right? I encourage, you try to have at least like 3 to 4 brands, right? Like pillars, the pillars, the superpowers. This is where you guys go next, all right? Where can you present your brand? And that goes back to the power of Tristan's HOP. And if you're not familiar with what HOP is, you guys need to get familiar with HOP. It is meeting people at home, it is meeting people online, and it's meeting people in person, HOP. You guys, there is a time and a place for your brand in each one of those different things, right? And it's so much fun to get creative. All right. As we're looking into the next steps of branding, once you have what your superpowers are, I really encourage you guys to go ahead and to start to, let me share this one here, think about the psychology of color. Take it back to 20 minutes ago when I said that my very first year in real estate, I wanted to go sit my butt in the sand. And so pink or coral. I guess it was coral, and it was turquoise. Those were my two colors. But you know what I didn't know at that point? Coral is the color for warmth and acceptance and positivity and individualism. And turquoise is the color for femininity and calming, creativity, and tranquility. You guys, this is where my career went. I ended up building a business and a team that's 100% rooted in coral. It just absolutely is. And the things that I strive to be that I'm not great at, but it's a daily struggle for me, is more calming and have more peace and harmony around my world. I definitely have nailed the creativity side of things over time, right? I love creating on Canva. That's my quiet space. That's my calming space. But you guys, I want you guys to think about the psychology of color. It's so much fun to look it up. So as you're starting to get your pillars defined and you're starting to think through what a branding scheme could look like that fits into it, I want you guys to research this. If you're looking to have authority and power and confidence in your business, you may want to go with navy, right? Whereas if you're looking to have more of a controlled, relaxed balance within your business, we may want to shift more towards a gray. You guys, there's a lot of power in colors. Once you start to have your colors squared away, it becomes really fun to start to combine colors, right? I am a huge advocate for naming your colors. And I know that probably sounds really, really weird. You guys will see I've got a couple examples here. My favorite being sunset and sand, right? Sun and cloud, storm and dawn, crimson and linen. I mean, let your creativity run wild here. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to come up with one really nice deep color and a really pretty contrasting light color, kind of of that same hue. You guys, back when we created copper, right? And I have a whole reason behind why we're named Copper. And that's the name of my team, or the Copper Group. And Copper has taken a very strong hold here in the Omaha Metro as a very uniquely branded real estate team. We didn't want something that was going to be a key, a house, anything real estate related. We wanted to keep our options open. So if someday we opened up an office and we wanted to put, you know, the copper cup next to it, and that was going to be our coffee, you know, whatnot, we wanted to be able to grow and expand our business into lots of different things if we wanted to. You guys, this whole combining of colors and the naming of colors gives your brand a life and a personality. One of our colors that we use is navy. It's a very deep navy. And we have a whole wall in our office that's painted this color, but we don't call it navy. That's lake, right? That's lake. So when I come walking in, I can be like, yeah, you guys, this is one of our branding colors. This is lake. And this over here, this is linen. Right? And each one of our colors has a name, which just gives it a little bit of a fun personality. So I really encourage you guys to do that. And I want to show you guys an example here, kind of for the last, and I'll read through some of these comments. Kind of through these last couple of minutes here, I want to show you guys a put together brand board. Now, if I had like another hour, I could show you guys how to put all this together in Canva. Super fun to create brand boards over there. I just absolutely get lit up by that. But check this out. I want to share this here. And I want to make sure. Can you guys see this? If I come into this, can you guys see the farmhouse branding board?
I see. Yeah, farmhouse. I see it.
Okay, perfect, cool. You guys, here's an example of a brand board that somebody wanted. They loved all aesthetic of farmhouse, right? So you guys, here's an example of one that we put together, all right? Check it out. When you're putting a brand board together, you should have a minimum of 5 different colors. You should have a texture. You should have logos, so on and so forth, right? So check it out. Here's what's our deep color. Here was our light color, but you see what we did? We didn't just call it deep and light. This is charcoal and this is shiplap. You need a really pretty complement that kind of fits right in between both of these. And for that was called ash. We're just making these names up, but this is ash. I guess we also could have called it sage, but you know, in this case, we named it ash. You need a really nice neutral color that can be kind of used on anything or used for different types of font if you're putting against the deep charcoal here. So in this case, we used the neutral and we called it pure. And then you always want a hit of color. And in this case, we called it sugar pop. Isn't that fun, you guys? Our texture that this person wanted was a very kind of cool ash colored kind of marbly texture. And we use that on the background of a ton of their newsletters and, you know, pop-by tags and so on and so forth. And then of course, for a farmhouse brand, we had to bring in a really nice farmhouse kind of looking font behind it. We got some pictures that we drew some inspiration from, but you guys, this is how your brand board should end up looking. So first, find your superpowers. Maybe your superpower is Jeeps, right? Maybe you're just absolutely into Jeeps, or maybe you're into motorcycles. Maybe you are into 50s vintage kind of, you know, the cat eyes and, you know, the whole hair getup and all of that, right? Figure out what your superpowers are. And then from there, figure out what colors and what fonts you want to represent you in your brand. You guys, from there, the opportunities are 1,000% limitless. And I want you guys to throw some ideas out there. We've got about 5 minutes left here, but check it out. Using my brands, which for me, I use my copper brand. So that's gonna be my copper and my navy and my linen and my lake and all of that, right? I love to put that on every single just listed flyer, every single just sold template. I put it on my open house flyers that I print off and bring in, or my open house sheets. It's got my branding on there. I have what I call the copper ribbon program. And so I have a copper ribbon that gets tied around my packs when I drop off for a pre-listing pack, for a home buyer's orientation, and I hand somebody their packet of information about buying a house, selling a house, whatever it is. It's inside of a lake colored envelope that has a really beautiful copper ribbon tied around it and my logo on there, right? The copper ribbon. That is when you see it arrive in your, you know, email or on your door in a pop-by or whatever the case may be, wherever you see the copper ribbon, you know that your opportunity to show up to help the community or you're going to receive something is present. Can you show an example of one of your flyers and postcards? Yeah, check this out. Let me show you guys something. I'm going to actually pop into here. I'm sure she won't mind. I am going to, can you guys still see this page? Let me go home and let me jump into this. And I'm going to show you guys one of the most beautifully put together brands. I've got about 4 minutes here. I'm going to pop into here. She might be on here watching, so it'd be awesome if she was.
By the way, April also teaches Canva inside of our coaching organization. So she's one of our great coaches for that as well.
So check it out, you guys. This is the woman who I was talking about who has a farm or has a, you know, like her homestead, her chicken, all of that kind of stuff. So here's a couple of examples. So for her first one here, the homestead realtor, right? Everything is in her brand colors, which is going to be this yellow and this bluish color in her lemons. She puts lemons on literally everything, right? So every month she is sending out this, which has her superpowers on it. She loves to cook. She's got her, you know, contractor corner down here supporting a local business, something about real estate in there, so on and so forth. You guys see kind of those colors throughout. Now check this out. If we were to go back, you will also see where she's got her listing pack set up to look just like it. She's got her buying packs to look just like it. Coming in here, you can see where she's got her for sales. Yeah, see the consistency across the board here. So on and so forth. There's her happy birthday cards that she prints off. I mean, I can keep going through and through here and show you guys. Here's her email newsletter that gets sent out to everybody. You guys see that consistency? There's her buying pack. There's a cover letter for an offer she sent off. You know, there's more of her stationery. You guys see that lemon theme and those yellows and those blues all the way throughout. That's one of the most beautiful examples of taking a brand. See that? See that right there? And turning it into something that is absolutely consistent across the board, right? When that shows up at home for people, when she shows up online, and when she shows up in person, she always has something with lemons. Whenever she closes on a house now, she gets lemon gifts from her clients because they all know that she loves lemons, right? And that yellow and that blue. I have example after example of this. It's probably the quickest I could pull together kind of on the fly. But you guys, we're coming up right here on 3:30. I encourage you guys to all please answer those questions about what your superpowers are. I want those defined for you. And I want you to start to see how your brand shifts and changes in your community, and it's going to be amazing. Tristan, thank you so much for having me today. I always appreciate an opportunity to work with you and hop on.
That was awesome. Let me jump in with you. All right, so a couple of questions for you right now.
Mhm.
When you created your brand, how did you spread it out so that people could connect with it? Like, what was the marketing like behind it?
Yeah, so, very early on, I was not very good at it. It was just anything online that I did had the coral and the turquoise on it. If I created any social media posts, if I created any print material, it just had the copper and the navy on it across the board, or the copper and turquoise. And I kept that very, very consistent. At this point in my career, I have a list of all the different things that I can push out there into my community that has my branding on it. And it's the consistency piece. And you know what? That is one of the things that I've been watching the comments this whole several hours on here. And that is the one thing that I've heard so consistently from agents that they need to work on to be successful is consistency. Start here, you guys. Popping a color or a logo or a superpower on whatever it is that you're creating is the fastest way to start to get those little stamps of consistency needed and going in your brain. And once you figure it out on something simple, it will expand to every other area of your life. This is such an easy one to start at.
That's a really good point. All right, so then what are you excited about for 2025 that you're working on right now?
For me, oh my gosh, there's just so much. I mean, in my personal world, I'm very excited that we are going on our first solo cruise. My husband and I, we're taking a 15-year delayed honeymoon. So that's something very personal I'm very excited for. And again, my whole career has been rooted in just being able to afford to go on vacations, and it's been great. For my team, oh my gosh, you guys would love my team. They're just the best people. If there's any of them on here, they're just good agents. I'm just looking forward to growing that a lot more. You and I have been working together on a project here, Tristan. I'm hoping it's going to really catch some teeth and get going. And you guys, all things Brilliant Tribe is where this future of real estate is. Listen to what these guys have told you today. Run hard with it. Learn that consistency. You just can't go wrong.
I love that. All right, any questions for April as we transition out for our last session here? No, I always love when you present. Great job. That was
Thank
really
you.
good.
Thanks,
Very, very
guys.
good. And I took some notes on this great note card. Let's see. Here we go. All right, we'll go through some of those. All right, let me grab that. I know that. Let me show. All right, I have some questions for all of you. What are the two things that you wrote down on that sticky note or note card or on your notes that Stu asked you to do? I want to see some answers to that, because I want to see what you're thinking. I want to see what those answers were. And then as you're putting them into the chat, I was going through Discover Your Superpowers with what April, I might do a podcast on that, a quick little podcast. And I loved just your number one question: who's your audience for your business? I think that is where it all starts, because it allows you to focus in on that more than anything else. So very, very good question to start off with. In fact, let me see. Susan says, reach out to new agents to find out how I can help. I love that, Susan. Very good. And for those of you that missed Stu's question, you can answer this question for me, because I think it's just as important. Who is your audience for your business? Like, if you ask me who my audience is specifically for real estate, I'm looking at a certain demographic where I live. They're homeowners and chances are they're going to move up. And it's in a specific community. I want to get as close to that as possible so I know who I'm speaking to. This way, when I show up on social, when I'm creating marketing, anywhere I'm showing up for them, and I'm doing an amazing job for them. That's why I loved the breakdown of what April did. All right, we've got some answers here. Susan, thank you. Anna, what's up, Anna? I didn't know you were here. Nice to see you. Create a referral database with meeting new agents and look into the tools that Trenton shared. Yeah, Trenton did share a lot. You're so right about that. Derek, what's up, man? If you expect something in return, you are not providing value. Wasn't that a big uh-huh? I was like, that was a big one. And I think coming from sales and real estate, where we're often encountered with a less than abundant mindset because we're competing. Sometimes we forget. And I love that one. That was really good. Show appreciation, Susan. That was a good one too. Thank you. Sticky notes are okay to use. Reconfirm. Sticky notes are okay to use. For Stu, right? Sticky notes are okay to use. Reconfirmed it because I do that until there was a bad habit. Lori, at the end of the day, it's wherever you can gravitate, whatever you can gravitate to and use often that stays in front of you. For some people, sticky note, like for my mom, sticky notes are amazing. She's got them all categorized. Not really, they're all over the place, but for her, they're categorized. I can't move one because if I do, I'm in trouble, right? And they're all over the place. For me, it's different, right? For me, it's just a notebook or digital. So I love that. That's so good. And my mom, by the way, my mom is an amazing operator. She's the one that taught me how to run a business. Tanya, on my sticky notes, there's educate others without expecting anything in return. I like that. And then money, brand myself always. Brand myself always. Yes. Yes. Trina, that's you. That's fine. That's good. I love that. Social media management, search engine optimization. I like that. Good. And show up with the right attitude and energy. Yes. I love the education paralysis. I often fall into that. I think we all do. We all do. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share something with you that really puts things in perspective for you as we end this. And we've got about, I would say about 15 minutes or so. And first, I want to remind you to jump into the group coaching. It's $99 a month, and we provide more value than any other coaching platform I know because we have agents that are practicing. There's a big difference in being out there on a day-to-day basis. We change and adapt quickly because we have a pulse on what's going on. So that's pretty big. And we give it all to you in a form that's digestible and usable. That's why I loved listening to April right now. It was great. So let me pull this up because I've got a couple of things for you. I just want to make sure I have the right one. And it's about taking that step forward with what to actually focus on because you hear a lot of things right now. And now you're going to be all over the place and say, well, where do I start? What do I do? And we've got a really great outline. I just want to find the right one. It was one that we pieced together. You know what? Let me find it for you. It's Monch, if you can find it, it's the one that outlines the things that we're supposed to do as a priority, our priority sheet. That one, let me see if I can get it for you because you will love this one. It's not Marvel. If not, you're going to have to just follow along with me on a piece of paper as we decide to do this live. So you guys ready? I need some yeses as we get going because I'm going to pull up my iPad and we're going to do this live since I couldn't find it. I'm going to connect my iPad. You ready? This right here will probably be the one thing you're going to take away to use today because I'm going to have you pick one thing that you're going to work on right now, whether it's deciding who is your audience for your business, whether it's deciding that you're going to use tools, whether it's deciding that you're going to go for your past clients, go to social, create branding, get better at your dialogue. I don't care what it is. You are going to outline it. And we're going to connect my iPad into this. and we're going to have some fun. And if I find the actual PDF, yes, we'll send it over to you. We've gone over this a few times in coaching because I think it's extremely important. It's allowed me to build various businesses because I can break it down into one thing. Not now. Candace, hop. The P is you're meeting your audience or the people you want to connect with at home, online, and in person. And there's a whole session on that one as well that we can do, that we've done and we'll continue to do. Okay, here we go. We're going to share my iPad, Mr. iPad. And you're going to tell me if you can see my screen. Perfect. Yep, you can. Awesome. We're going down. And here it is. It's called the process. It's all scribbled up. And we're going to erase some of this. I'm always using this as an example because I want you to identify what's the one thing today or this week that you're going to decide to work on. And I'm going to pick one of you in the audience. We're going to go through this for about 10 minutes. So I want some answers. What are you going to focus on today? What are you going to stop making excuses on and say, Tristan, I'm finally ready to get this going. I'm going to work on my past clients. I'm going to work on my social. I'm going to work on what? What is it? Lynette, you're going to work on YouTube. Hector, improve my branding and be consistent in my social media, I'm assuming. Find my client avatar. Those are a few things, Hector. If you can narrow it down to one thing, what would it be? Everyone else, answer it in the chat or answer to yourself because we're going to pick one of you and go through with this. I think we're going to pick adding people to my database. I like that. Trina, I think that could be a powerful one for a lot of people. Improve my avatar. I like that. Trina, we're going to go with yours. All right. Now you see at the top, we've got, I'm going to do this in red. Video and branding. I love that. You see at the top, we got physical, intellectual, spiritual, business, and so forth. We're going to call this one a business one, right? Remember I said at the beginning, you need to work on you first. So of course you have the other options at the top here. Priority, Trina, adding people to my database through year end. So you've got a deadline, December 31st, 2024. You want to add people. I'm going to get more specific. I want you to add one person a day. You'd have to calculate to see how many that is. One add, let me narrow down my, I want to make it smaller. There, I don't want to make it so thick. Let's make it a little bit less, yeah. Add one person. I would say talk to. Trina, I'm going to say talk to. Talk to and add one. What do we got here, Trina? One person a day. Perfect. Talk to and add one person a day to my database. So what I want you to all follow along is do the same thing as I'm doing now. For you, you're just going to have a little heading called priority. Well, if you're in coaching, you've got this PDF, and I'll send it over to you if you sign up. At the top, put priority or goal. What is it? I like to call them priorities because they take over my life. These are the things I'm going to focus on every day, no matter what. I'm going to chip away. So here it is. Talk to and add one person a day to my database. Let's get a little bit human, though. Why is this important? Trina, why is this important to you? Why? For me, if this was mine, and by the way, it is one of those I like to add daily, right? For me, I'm thinking this is important for many reasons if I get deep down into it. One, I want to continue to build relationships. I want to be around 5 years, 10 years from now. I want to make sure that I connect with my community, connect with people, because not only am I making a living out of this and continuing to make money from this, the core, right? We're doing this, we're not doing this for free. But also, it makes me feel like I'm purposeful, like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It's almost like my vocation. It's like I'm meant to help people. I'm meant to connect with people and show them that I can help them better than almost anyone else because I love doing this. In fact, when you realize who's your audience for your business, you're definitely going to show up better than most people because you're very specific as to who you want to help. And this becomes more important, right? With as many years that I've been in the business, it's puny. So what I would say, find your why. And by the way, your why isn't money, right? It's what do you want to do with that money? How does it make you feel, right? Does it make you feel like you're significant, like you achieved something? Were you carrying a chip on your shoulder? What was it? This can be many things, right? I'm going to leave this one up to you. It can be very personal, but it always starts with why, because the why gets you through the hard part. And the why gets you through all those challenges because this isn't easy and it's going to get harder. But you already know that, right? Here we go. Problem solved. Usually it's the same here. I usually use this one for big businesses because we use this when we're helping businesses. Like, what's the problem you're solving? You can answer that if you want. I usually skip it on a one-on-one basis. But now I start creating strategies that are based on my strength. Trina, you know what your strengths are. Usually people tell us, they're like, hey, you know what? You are going to go and cold call, you're going to call expireds, and you're going to host open houses, okay? But they don't ask, like, what are your strengths? Wait a second, Trina, what do you love doing? What are you great at? What is it that if I put you there, you're better than most people? And I think that's where you want to start with this, Trina. You want to start with what are you amazing at already that can allow you to connect with people like you want to? What is that? And I'm asking you, Trina, I'm going to go to you first, or I'm going to make something up here and I'm going to say you're amazing at something. But what are you amazing at where it allows you to connect with people either on the phone or in person? Because your goal is to talk to and add one person a day to your database. I'm going to say there's going to be three things, right? In person always. Okay. So I'm going to say, let's go with open houses. Let's just say open houses. Let's try open houses because let's say you're absolutely amazing with those. That's what you told me. We're pretending now, Trina. And then you also say something like, you know what? I love participating in my local community, whether it's school boards or whatever it is. So you're going to say local community, right? That's another one. And then you also love it because you belong to some networks, some local networks like BNI. Let's say you do BNI. And by the way, BNI works amazing. Is that right? BNI? There's a little that just looks better right there. So now you've got the three strategies, all based on your strengths. Maybe this one not so much, let's say, but you're going to go and you want to do it, right? Because that's just what you want to do. Or let's say, you know what? The local communities is not what you want to do. You want to challenge yourself. You want to add social media on there and talk to somebody. You could do that too. But the point is, now we're going to take action steps, all based on your strengths. How can you get more people to your open house? Well, first, you've got to identify how many open houses do you want to have a month? Because you want to make an impact in your business. That's like one a day. What if you met like 20 people on Saturday and Sunday? That covers the one a day. But how do you get to make yourself have an open house or two a week? Well, you've got to put yourself out there. So Mondays, you've got to start doing some research and saying, who's got all the houses, and I want to be in that area specifically. So number one, I need you to make a process for this because the one thing that's going to allow you to succeed over a long period of time is creating a process for open houses for you. That means you're going to go through and say, Mondays, I'm going to make the calls to all the people that have a vacant house, if I'm allowed to have their open house, according to my broker, right? Next, I'm going to schedule it. And this is what scheduling looks. This is what marketing looks on Facebook, on Instagram, in person. I'm going to door knock. I'm going to pick up the phone and call or not, right? Doesn't matter. I need a process for you, Trina. I need a process for you. So first thing is you're going to create a process for all your open houses for the rest of your life that you can then add or take away. So you're like saying, hey, you know what? I noticed that after doing this a year, you're like, I noticed that now I need to tweak this. And now all you do is you just tweaked it. You created a process for the rest of your business life for open houses, process for all my open houses. And then once you've got a little process, I'm going to stop sharing and then come back to you. Once you've got a little process, you're going to put it into ChatGPT and you're going to have it expand on it and say, hey, what am I missing? What am I missing on this that I'm not seeing? Expand on it. And then you can expand even further. Right? The point is you want to refine it and make one process that can stand the length of time for you. Okay, let me go back to sharing my screen. So you've got now number one, you've got number two. Process for all my open houses, great. Now, number two, you're going to say, well, where do I want to have my open houses? Because it matters. I don't want to have my open houses all over the place. Pick the cities, right? Pick your cities. Pick cities, right? And number three, let's say, what does your marketing look like as far as open houses? What's that going to look like? If you want to get down, say, you know what, work on my marketing. The world's changed, right? What are you going to give away? Remember I showed you that little flyer that we created that we give away at open houses? Well, what are you going to give away? What are items of value, right? Items of value. And how are you going to attract people to the open house? Besides your signs, how many signs are you going to put up, right? Attract. Online and signs. We'll just put signs. So now what you're going to do, let's say we do the same thing over here. The thing is, we usually stop right here. And that's it. And we're like, okay, I got my plan, Tristan. And then nothing happens with it. Or maybe you do one thing. And then, like I said last time, it ends. But the key to this is, this missing step that you all need to add. I'm going to delete this. You've got a digital calendar. I created this little calendar for you just so that you have it somewhere and at least print it out and put it in here, because I'm looking here and I said, okay, let's use this one first. Process. What's the process for all my open houses? When am I going to work on this in the next 4 weeks? And approximately how much time is it going to take? Because I think this process, if I'm going to use it for the rest of my life, I'm probably going to take about at least 2 hours. I don't want to do it all at one time. I want to break it up, but I do want to do it back to back. So what are we today? Monday? I think let's go for Thursday. I want to do it at, let's say 11 a.m. I'm going to work on this process. And then I'm going to continue it on the next day, the process. And I'm going to work on it for 1 hour. I should be done by then, but now it's set. All right, let's go back to, I'm going to pick the cities. That seems to be pretty easy, but I want to do some research on the MLS. I want to see what the average price point is. I want to see how many homes sold in the area. I want to do a SWOT analysis in these cities. That shouldn't take more than an hour or so. So I'm probably going to do that because I want to do it timely as well. And I'm going to say Tuesdays are less busy. So I'm going to do SWOT on cities. And then I'm going to do that. I'm just going to do that at 11. Because let's say, Trina, you seem to have a lot of the time at 11 for some reason. Okay. Let's just say that. Then we're going to go back. We'll say, okay, now I've got marketing, but damn, there's a lot here. Marketing, I need items of value and attract online. Sounds like I'm probably going to have to check out what we've got in a Brilliant Tribe because you have a whole marketing center in there. I need to go on Google. I need to go on Canva maybe. I need to go on YouTube. This takes a little bit longer. I think this requires stages realistically. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to tackle items of value. And I know that that's going to take a longer time. This Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was your business. And you're going to have to keep on tweaking it. You're going to have to keep on tweaking it all the time. And right now, let's just say Friday, I'm going to work on this open house marketing. And for me, I'm going to go at 11. And let's say this Friday, I've got 2 hours. I'm going to take 4 shots of espresso and I'm going to just get this done. And that means I'm going to do some research that day and I'm going to have some pieces done. And the things that I don't have done, I'm going to go to Gamma and see if Gamma can help me with some of these pieces like I showed you, right? So now I have the beginning of a plan. I haven't even tackled local community or BNI, right? But now I have it in my calendar. And you see that one piece will make the difference in your business, because that document that I showed you, the one that's called the process, that's a living document. Because what happens, let me go back to this. What happens is this. You're at this document. Well, let me pop it up. There it is. You're at this document. And now let's say you want to continue the open houses, but you're done with picking cities and you're done with your process. But let me tell you, you're not done with open houses. They're going to continue for the rest of your life. So what are you going to add to action 1 and 2 that you can put in the calendar? This document is living. This changes with you. This grows with you. This is all you need to continue to focus on your priorities. You know what happens? We get bombarded by all this other stuff online. We get bombarded by all these other people telling us what to do on YouTube and Facebook groups. And then we're wondering why we can't succeed. What's going on with NAR? What's going on with the next lawsuit? None of that matters. All that matters is your priorities. And if it's you that you need to work on first, which we all do, by the way, then put that as one of your priorities. Outline what that looks like. What does that look like if you're going to work on you? Does your morning routine change? Does your evening routine change? Do you need to eat better? Do you need to work on your mind more, like learning? How about your emotions? How are they doing? Maybe spiritually. I don't know. How about your family? You might need to slow down to pay attention to the spouse or the kids or the parents. All that matters before business. I need you to outline this. See, our business isn't what you think it is, because you come in here and you're thinking, it's all real estate. Let's go. I'm going to prospect. I've got a plan now. And all that goes to shit because you're not in a good place. And you're not consistent because you're not in a good place. Things don't work out because you're not in a good place. It's time to work on you. And that's what we help with here. We realized early on, because I had to go through all these ups and downs, I'm saying, hey, you know what? Real estate is really great and we could do amazing. It's taking me to places I never imagined to be in. It's done amazing things for me and my business and my life and my family. But it all started with me checking in and saying, hey, Tristan, how are you doing? How are you doing internally? Hey, you know what? The way you talk to that person, that wasn't good. The way you reacted, that text you sent, that email you just put together, that was not good. And it was through reflection that I got here. I said, I understand. We need to show up better for ourselves in order to succeed in this business, succeed financially, because there's so many levels of success, right? So I want to help you. We want to help you. I just need you to take this step forward and jump into coaching, because there's only so much I can do on the free side in Lab Coat Agents. But I also put a very low hurdle here to give you some of the best coaching you will ever get in this business to get you where you want to get to. Let us help you. And with that, that's all I got for you. Any questions, comments, any additions? I'm finishing up on time to let you go where you need to go to. Hi, what's up, Denise? How are you? Hi, I've been in a bundle with BVS, Curated Social, Dose Coaching. I love that one. I can't do multiple coaching programs too much. I agree with you. I don't want you to either. Can I swap coaching programs with a Brilliant Times? Yeah, listen, Denise, I love BVS, but if you've gotten enough on the video side and Drunk on Social there, which is part of our company, right? This is completely different. This focuses on, believe it or not, it focuses on a lot of things in your business, but I really always touch on you as a human, because if we're not doing well, then we can't do all the other stuff I'm showing you. You can't show up consistently to go through what Trenton just showed you. You'll be like, this is way too much, right? And so, yes, there are a lot of sessions here. We do over 20 sessions in a month. So you have to pick and choose what you learn from us. But the thing is, we show up for you where you're at. And that's because of where we're all at. We've done it all. I've been door knocking. I've been calling expireds. I've negotiated. I've done luxury. I've done everything. And I've done it at a high level. And so have the people that are with us. They're specialists in what we bring them into. And this is why we can talk to it, because we're living this. We're in the dirt with you. I'm not just telling you from above saying, hey, go do this because it'll work because somebody else told me about it, or because I interviewed somebody and they said it was a good idea. No, it's completely different. So I'd love to have you here. And let's see any other questions that you guys have. Denise, great question. Tina, thank you. Margie, thank you. Appreciate you. Simon, what's up, man? Thank you. April, thank you for doing your session too. And April Espinosa, thank you. I know we were texting earlier, so thank you. Trisha, thanks for being on. How do we get the calendar? Cecilia, was that the calendar I was showing right now? The breakdown, the PDF, the process, that whole process. By the way, Cecilia, that's part of a whole course we're just launching. So you're going to get the whole thing in a Brilliant Tribe. It's like a 3-hour course on getting you where you need to be by outlining every single thing, kind of like what we did with Trina. So yes. What else? Edna, thanks. I appreciate all of you. The calendar will come when you sign up. Yep, got you. Francis, thank you. To all who presented today, great information, worth the time for me to stay plugged in. Many thanks, and special thanks to Tristan for providing value. Francis, thank you for jumping in. We appreciate you. And yeah, that's the link. Let me see what else we're missing. When Sean, let's see what we got, Sean. When do you get this meeting available to rewatch if we have just signed up? Sean, we can send you, I think we're sending out the unedited version immediately, so it should be a day. And then the edited version is what our team then works on, and that takes a little bit. So Jim, thank you. Great info. Yeah, Trenton did awesome. Thank you for helping out with that. All right, everybody, that's it. I need you to just stay focused on you. Things are going to continue to change. We are going to be attacked from different sources, not just from tech companies, from attorneys, but who knows from where. And I need you to remember to focus on what you can control what you do on a daily basis, your actions, right? Your actions are key to your personal life, your business life, and everything else around you. Control what you can. Stop focusing on what you can't. And I'll see you on social media, or I'll see you around.